welcome back to the Ronin, our fantasy Asian-inspired campaign. This is episode 6, which is kind of more like episode 2 because of a big time jump and a system change. But we are in the middle of a town in Sakai, the town of Iido, and everybody has come to this town for multiple reasons, but primarily because the queen has sent Kaori and Chang, Ping Pong, Pacho, and Yoi to go meet up with Liu Shang, Sato, and get Prince Oji back. And kind of mixed up into this is Odoru and Kaede. And the situation is currently the troops from the Shogun, Moon, the Barracuda, is all entering into the city, and you have an elf who is coming up into the plaza up here to arrest the Star Reader, and that is when there's an eagle swoops down, picks up the Star Reader, and is carrying him away from the town, as everybody, the townsfolk, the soldiers, the samurai all watch in surprise. Again, as this eagle swoops down. I don't know if that sound effect worked, but there it is. So let me actually turn down the music because I'd like to jump into this without distractions. Oh, that's right. Owen is what the Prince Oji has been going by the name of Owen. I forgot about that. So in the courtyard, Odoru, there's the guard next to you who you've kind of befriended, Sai. You're kind of mixed up amongst this throng of villagers and townsfolk who have all been collecting here in the plaza, and you see the Imperial troops headed by this elf, and I'd like to know kind of what Odoru's reaction is seeing this giant bird. Think like Lord of the Rings-sized eagle swooping down and grabbing the Star Reader. I'm going to move the tokens back over as this just occurred.
I know at the end of last session, Odoru got their hands on their weapon, their Naginata. I think their follow-up reaction would just be scanning the skies, scanning the surrounding area for signs of monstrous activity.
Okay, perfect. The guard next to you is also kind of like clutching at a spear, looking up, almost kind of like in fear. Like the birds of this size are not normal. And you can roll a perception check. Actually, change that to empathy. I know you just rolled, but just roll empathy instead, because you don't need to see. You see this elf samurai, who's I believe she's mounted compared to everybody else, so she's still on horseback.
Right. Here's an empathy.
Okay, so she's kind of stone-faced, just kind of watching. You can see a hint of surprise, but she's concealing it pretty well, and you can see the eagle kind of make its way crossing over the boundary of the town. And Liu Shang, I'd like you to roll. For this, I'd like you to roll perception, and I'll give you a situational +2.
It's the bird you're talking about?
Correct.
I can't remember what I rolled, but I remember we rolled that, I think, very last thing of last game, and
let me go.
I did see it.
Okay, let's go with that then. I don't. Oh yeah, I see your perception. Yeah, same as Odoru. This eagle flying overhead. I'd like you to describe is his reaction.
It's carrying someone. I don't recognize them.
You probably would. This, having lived in, even though you're on the outskirts of the town, you probably would know that this is the Star Reader. His name is Bao, the Star Reader. First name Bao, last name the Star Reader.
He'd be very concerned about this, not knowing what is going on, but he's very concerned about this too, and doesn't. He'd really like to go to one of his jobs working at this stable, and ask what's going on. But he also doesn't want to leave them alone.
So are you inside your house, or did you venture out? Are you just looking out through the threshold?
He hasn't. He's either looking out the windows occasionally, or occasionally stepping out and kind of doing some work around, maybe. But he's not leaving. As far as he's gone as his neighbors.
Mm-hmm. So the bird swoops by, and then what I will be doing here for a moment.
He might be, with all that's going on, he might be maybe checking on the horse, making sure it's ready to go if need be.
Okay. Meanwhile, back in the alley, Kaede, you're kind of focusing on channeling this spell as you are summoning this magical sunbird. You are hiding currently. How long do you want to try to maintain this spell?
Oh, so I need to concentrate to keep the eagle going.
Correct.
Ooh. Oh man, I was thinking that I would be able to release it and forget, but if that's the case, uh oof. Um the alley where I'm at looks like there's a lot of trees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I reasonably well covered?
I'd say you're probably like in this corner there, between the two
Okay.
buildings, or like kind of huddled down by those trees. Yeah, you're confident that nobody's found you or seeing you, even though there's some people kind of like moving towards the big plaza there.
Yeah, I've got a pretty low profile anyway. But I would probably hold it for another. Hmm. What information am I getting back from the eagle? Like, do I know where it is?
Um, well, actually, let me go back up to your surrendering. I think you got just enough successes to do a large one, so you can kind of like, if you're still maintaining the spell, I'd say you can see kind of through its eyes, and like this is an arcane bird. It's conjured from the magic essentially. So you're steering it. You can see through its eyes.
Okay.
So if you want to just kind of get the Sun Reader to safety, you can see all the tents being pitched below you. Though you don't necessarily know who he is, you see Liu Shang peering up from his doorway, seeing you.
But I don't know who he is either.
No, it's just another villager. It looks like, and in your talons, bow is just held.
Okay. Um, would I be able to speak to Bao through the eagle, or is that beyond the capabilities with the eagle that I've summoned?
It does not speak, so you'd have
Okay.
to find a way to do
Okay.
that outside of talking.
All right. Probably what I would do then is maintain it for another. Hmm, would I be able to estimate how long it would take the eagle to get over the ridge
Yeah, I mean,
towards?
it's flying and it's big. It won't take that
Yeah.
long to clear the city and kind of line of sight and away from the roads. If you even a minute would be plenty to kind of get it away, depending on where you want to try to get him to. If you're just
Okay.
getting him to immediate sanctuary, or if you want to try to fly him to the next town, that'll take obviously a lot harder. But a couple seconds to a minute, and you'll get him pretty far.
Okay. So I'll probably just maintain the spell for just a little while, like just to get him clear of these guys that are looking to arrest him, and I guess leave him to his own devices after he's cleared them.
Okay. So you're kind of huddled down there. Inside the geisha house, you don't necessarily hear like the eagle like coming around and everything, and as you're getting ready, Kaori. Actually, I see that you have a new avatar on Roll20. Do you want
I do. I have a new token.
Do you have a way to import it, or do you need help?
I can get it on there. Hold on.
While that's happening, Chang, you are still just kind of in the house. Is there anything that you're specifically trying to do, or just waiting for Kaori? I think you are muted. Perhaps.
Sorry, what was that? Was that me?
Oh yeah, he was telling you were muted.
Okay, sorry. What did you ask if I could do?
What is Chang doing in the geisha house?
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm actually going to be sitting in a room with entertainers, just trying to keep an eye on the door or other possible entrances in case somebody I happen to know pops in. Otherwise, I will be entertained. Is there any windows out that are looking outside so I can see what's going on out there potentially?
Let's see.
Oh, hold on.
Hold on, it's very janky for loading
There's
right now.
there's a roof. I can't tell.
It will take a second to load because it's a big map.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm currently sitting in solid darkness. I don't know about anybody else.
I am as well.
Because you're over. You
I
can't
was
see anything,
wondering
huh?
if that's the part. Yeah, nothing.
I can see the outsides of the map, like the streets and walkways and the beautiful water and stuff like that. But there we go.
There we go. I saw Ping and Pong's name, and when you introduced them at the beginning, I laughed in my head because I had completely forgotten about that. It's still funny. Okay, so there is not a window that I can see here. Okay. This is much bigger than I was imagining it to be.
So do you want to just wait here? You could roll a quick check.
Would I be able to maybe go to like this dining room where I could actually like see out a window?
Yeah, you have free reign of this area. You're unrestricted guest.
Hmm.
And Kaori, I'll let you choose where is the tunnel entrance on this map. I can see there maybe it being like maybe here in this room or maybe up here.
I would actually like it to be attached into the geisha dressing room since I imagine it's very faux pas for anybody else to go back there who isn't a geisha.
Style point for a word I do not know what that means. Kaori, very well read.
Thank you.
So yeah, so the room that you're in is where the tunnel is then.
Yeah,
Maybe
probably
behind,
like hidden behind the these things here.
So you uncover the mat and there's like a little tunnel leading down. Very good, very good. So Chang is currently away from keyboard, but I'll have him roll a perception check in a moment. Kaori, you may also roll a perception, however, because you're inside, I will give you a -2 for the roll, unfortunately.
Okay, no worries.
And it's up secondary. Oh, perfect. Yep. So with a 2, you can actually still hear through the compound because there's a lot of openings to the gardens and stuff in open air. You can hear a lot of kind of shouting and stuff from the streets. Not like warfare shouting, but like hustle bustle of townsfolk kind of moving and some cries of like people being maybe herded. There's some sort of commotion going on out in the town, basically. And Chang, from your side, looking kind of through the windows there into the town, I'm going to move you guys back over here. You can see lines of troops, the Barracuda spearmen, some of his arbalists, which are like crossbowmen, kind of going house to house, banging on doors, basically pulling the villagers out and ushering them and informing them they must all go to the town square up here. So you see this through the window. Actually, there's a spearman kind of approaching this neighbor building here and grabbing villagers, and there's like troops kind of coming up from this side too. And it seems that they're all going, sweeping through and getting everybody in the town and making them come up to the plaza.
Okay. After seeing this, I would go inform Ping and Pong and have whatever. I don't think I would be allowed back there because I have manners. I would have whoever is the person on hand in the geisha house go inform Kaori that they're gathering villagers and hurting them. And oh gosh, would I be able to communicate telepathically to somebody I know?
If you would like to try, yeah, that would be a star reading roll.
I would like to do that. Is there a way for me to do it where it is only going to that person and not anybody else who might be?
Yeah, tell me who you're wanting to do it and kind of the relationship between.
It is somebody who would play with my son back when he was younger.
The person you saw recently.
Yes, who I've seen recently, who I know is in the town.
You can, yes, because you have, you know who this is.
Yeah.
Know she's here, so vicinity-wise might be a penalty because you don't know exactly where she is, but because you know who she is, it's not too difficult. So I'm going to...
And I imagine I've done magic with her before, so like if there's any particular magic signature, I don't know.
I'm not sure that would come into play with this. I'd say for this, it would be a tough challenge. I just opened the magic handout. It's a tough challenge because you don't necessarily know exactly where she is. And I wouldn't say that you have a close relationship with her, but you know her enough to kind of go ahead. So the actual spell difficulty is only average. So you'll need 4 successes to cast this.
Okay.
Okay, so the challenge was 3, so 7 minus 3 is 4, which is successful. You can specifically only to her cast a telepathic message. And Kaede, you are in the midst of kind of like just maybe releasing the eagle as he sets down, puts the star reader down. And then, yeah, you have this voice kind of echo through your psyche, your head. What do you hear?
She
Yeah.
would hear, "Stay safe. I'm only going to be here for a short while. If you can get out safely and you know where I am, perhaps we can get out together. However, try not to put us at risk."
Am I able to respond?
Roll a quick empathy check.
Yes, Kaori.
Okay.
Because first thing is like, how closely do you know who this voice belongs to?
I mean, I probably recognize
Just
the voice
saw
pretty
me
well.
earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your average?
It's 4+.
Okay. No roll needed. You recognize the voice of Chang, the
Okay.
star elf reader that you saw recently in the streets, just basically like 15 minutes ago or less. So.
Okay. Okay, so does that allow me to respond?
I'd say no. It's not like it's a two-way
Okay.
phone call. As funny as that would be, this is literally like casting your voice through magic into somebody else's head. It's not. They would have to be able to respond in kind.
casting the /W spell. Got it.
That's a stout point.
Think of it less a can and more like a vinyl recording coming out a trumpet piece, and you can't send it the other way.
That sounds
That's one heck of a telegram.
Via magic.
All right, sounds good. All right, so I do hear the voice. I just released the spell. I think I would step back onto the street.
Okay.
And all these people are just coming in towards this town square, right?
Yeah, and at this point you can kind of hear the soldiers kind of like shouting, there's assembly in the plaza, and roll a perception check.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see that there's soldiers coming up from this direction. This area is a little too crowded for soldiers to like push through, because all the villagers are not like resisting. They're all coming out on their own once they hear these, and they are thronging in the direction of Odoru, Sai, and the soldiers and everything up there. So that is kind of not really troops in this area. There are some coming up from the south wall of the geisha house. I guess that'd be the east wall. And then on the north, there doesn't seem to be that much activity. There's some less people, but they are still kind of making their way.
Okay, so I guess this is kind of just a weirdly situational question to ask, but is Kaede aware that, like, if she casts magic, is there like a residue on her from casting magic?
No, not specifically, I would say. No.
Okay. Because I would have been like, I want to prestidigitate this magic gunk off me before I get like face to face with the enemy. Okay, if that's not something I need to worry about, I'm gonna step in with the crowd, kind of just like keeping an eye out for Chang in the direction of the geisha house. I don't think I'm tall enough to see over that wall, but I'm gonna try to make my way back to Odoru.
Okay, so you kind of join the throng, kind of making their way to the plaza.
Right.
Very good. Liu Shang Day, trying to keep it cool and everything. There's troops now beginning to move all up into the settlement, led by the large man of a samurai. And they start shouting, "Assembly in the town square! Assembly in the town square!" One of them goes up to your neighbor's room or front door and just kind of knocks on it loudly. I believe his name was Franku, and he opens the door and is kind of like ushered out, and he quickly like says, "No, my family," and he goes and gets his wife, and he's got 2 kids under 10, and his family is kind of like starting to move down just in front of yours, and soldiers are almost coming up to your doors next.
Hopefully, obviously these guys are the Northern Samurai. Would it be inappropriate for a commoner to ask what is going on in this situation, or like
as long as there's not not with resistance, that would be frowned upon, but just a question, that's not. Do you think that was probably fair to do?
Leaving Sato in the doorway for the moment, he would approach the Lord Samurai with the Okatana and kind of just lower head in a bow and ask, "Honored Samurai, may I ask why you have come to our village?"
"Be quiet, peasant! Get to the town!" You're talking to Usui, right?
Oh, snap!
He actually like tries to reach towards your cuff and just like yank you out of your house.
Alright,
is there any resistance?
No, not at this point.
Okay, then yeah, he grabs onto your shoulder and yanks you forward. What is your strength rating?
Probably as good as his, but I'm not really resisting.
Yeah.
I think it's 4 or 5.
You can tell that he's very strong. Without revealing his actual rating, he's strong. So yeah, you're pulled through.
I am quite strong, but he is not. But he is used to. I guess it's only a 4.
Yeah, so he's a little stronger than you.
But he is not trying to resist.
Okay, so yeah, you're pulled from your home, and Sato is gonna come up behind you holding Owen, and
he would
yeah, go ahead.
reach out his hand after the samurai pushes him. He would take a couple steps and then stop and reach towards Sato to kind of get her to come to him, and then follow with the rest of the village.
Yeah, as soon as you're clear, Usui takes. He's got an odachi just like you, and he uses the hilt, which is extremely long. It's kind of like a nudge to like force Sato to catch up to you, and then you are all kind of thrust into the street, and he goes to the next house while the normal spearmen kind of come up behind you, and pretty much everybody in this little settlement is acquired by their line, and like you're all marched up towards the city at this point.
Continuing walking, can I ask? He would just kind of turn in place. It's like and ask one of the spearmen, why? May I ask? Inquire why we are assembling in the town.
One of the guards. Oh, there's Liu Shang Day up here. Is this a double?
Good chance. Yeah, I don't know why
Probably
there's
is.
2 of them.
That's fine. I'm just gonna put Bao up by where the tunnel entrance was, just for marker. The spearman does answer you. He's like, "There's an assembly in the town. You'll probably be joining us here soon." And he kind of looks at Sato. He's like, "Should kiss your girl while you have the chance." You're all marched up towards here. As you cross over the bridge, you can see a figure. She's standing up on the path just east of the fork, so you end up passing without interrupting her. Roll a quick perception check. You see surrounding by her are her 4 acolytes, and these people are in red robes. They are hooded, and as her hair is kind of blowing with an arcane wind as she is casting a spell, and the 2 people besides her and the 2 people in front of her just are standing there with their kind of arms raised, and the actual moon reader here continues to focus on building up some form of ritual spell, and you are marched past. Usui breaks off.
I imagine this
Go
is
ahead.
one of the places. Well, he worked both with as a tanner next door, but he also is very good with horses. So I imagine this is a stable. And I kind of imagine this is where him working too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you pass through the gates. There's the town guards. You probably recognize them and greet them every day. They're just standing to the side. They're relieved of duty, and there's now a Barracuda spearman kind of like waving people through. And the townsfolk from your little village up there are being escorted up into the plaza as well. If you are continuing to not resist, you shall move up there. The samurai hangs back, apparently watching. I think you can see all their names, but her name is Kami.
Yeah.
Kaede, you join the plaza here, and Odoru, I'm gonna come back. Are you at this point doing anything? Are you just kind of waiting because the crowds are swarming in? It's getting crowded. You see Aika is riding her horse kind of in circles as it's agitated. She's waiting for everybody to be assembled.
They would be... They have questions, but they're not going to immediately step forward because now that they have a weapon in hand, And it's very funny that Kaede moved up because they are going to kind of take a few steps forward, not fully in the center, but just a few steps forward, and attempt to do a ritual of some kind to sense the presence of monsters or illusion magic.
Okay. So, are you trying to do this concealed at all?
I don't think so. They, as a monster hunter, at least before the Shogun Moon took over, they knew what their job was. They knew that they could walk up and just, if a town had a monster, they could perform the rituals to find the monster in the town. So they are just blatantly doing it. If the crowd obscures it, that happens, but they are walking up, maybe grabbing a handful of dirt on the ground with their own weapon in hand, trying to rub it across their weapon to try and perform this ritual.
Okay, and
oh boy. When I see Odoru moving forward to use samurai steel to perform something or this ritual magic, is Kaede aware of what reaction Odoru is gonna get?
I'd say based off of the last couple months, easily, yeah, with like people like the Barracuda's man even almost targeting Star Readers now. Yeah, it's probably not going to be good.
Okay, so it's bad. Okay, so Kaede's gonna try to rush forward to interrupt Odoru. It's like no, don't do it.
Okay, I want to see something. Not so. Everything's gonna pause for a second. I actually want both of you to roll an initiative roll.
Okay.
Because it's kind of a reaction time.
Oh shit. Oh. Ah!
That was probably an accident clicking Pong. That's fine. Did you roll from your sheet?
Yes, I did.
How about
Yeah, I didn't mean to send Pong into initiative, but
so long as it was your sheet.
Yes.
So Kaede is.
I got the 3, they got the 2.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will say 3. I'm just going to delete these real quick. So then, Odoru, you can roll your spell, please.
Okay.
And while this is happening, Odoru, you're still, or Kaede is still running towards you, Odoru.
All right, and I will put my birthday style point into this. +1.
Okay. And you are trying to sense the area. Actually, I needed to have given you the challenge for this. I'd say, what's the vicinity that you're wanting to search? Like the plaza?
Yeah, for now, the plaza. Sensing, looking for illusion magic or traces of illusion magic, because there was previously, the so-called witch in town that illusions were being cast, so...
The plaza, I'd say, is an easy challenge because you're in the vicinity. It's not too big, so that would be only 1. So that would be 4 successes, which is enough for an average spell to take off. So that would be enough to do a little bit more of a radius than just the plaza. So for illusion magic and kind of anything to do with magical things, you can tell that inside the tower there's kind of a presence. It doesn't feel like a monster specifically, but there is some sort of magical essence in there. Aika, the samurai, she definitely has... I'm treating this kind of like you're sensing 4 magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Aika has the kind of a bit of a magical presence to her. There are the sense of spirits amongst the throng here, 1 or 2. Let me see what that would actually kind of feel like for you. 1 second.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you previously said that, casting magic doesn't leave a residue, but considering I specifically said the type of magic I'm looking for, if Kaede is rushing towards me, does my head turn, feeling a ping next to me as I spot, like, I see the magic emanating?
There's not a visual difference, but with kind of actually like reaching out to the arcane, I think there would be, yes. But that's not the only thing that you sense. There is also it's hard to describe specifically without and do it justice, but it's almost like a spirit that's kind of moving amongst the villagers. And then if you kind of look over, you probably would see Kaede, because she's running, kind of pushing her way, trying to jump towards you. And with that, you would see this almost forest-looking nymph or something that's kind of jumping after her. And it's otherwise invisible to the naked eye.
And I imagine while they are using star reading, they are using star magic.
They are not.
No, I mean me, Odoru. I'm describing.
Yes. Yes.
They are using star reading. They're using star magic, but it's not. I imagine it doesn't look like a traditional star reader spell, as it is a very Monster Hunter-esque type of thing. They grab the dirt from the plaza. They maybe take a knee, rub the dirt along the blade of their weapon, and use that as kind of the focus of casting as they close their eyes and begin holding their hand over the dirt to sense the surrounding area and uncover the magic to track whatever is here.
Yeah, as soon as you're about to do that, however, there is a shout from Aika, who's looking at you, and she's drawn her katana and is pointing in your direction, and she shouts in Elvish, "Seize!" And I'm going to need you to roll a willpower.
Okay.
Okay, and hold on, let me calculate her difficulty. She is trying to cast a spell on you. Where's my magic page? Okay, so you're in the same vicinity, so this is an average, and then from there it is up to your roll. Okay, so that is 4 versus 3. So your magic immediately dissipates as she slices the air with her drawn katana, and kind of like this wave of anti-magic casts out towards you, and it just disappears. And that image, and actually I'm just going to kind of post this in the Discord, because that will be easier than me describing it, for that spirit that you saw. Kind of looks like this, kind of bouncing from one person to the other, and that little spirit, you don't see it anymore, as Aika definitely has seen you.
I think when the spell ends, after I get what I get, Odoru stands up from their knee with their weapon at their side, and being the kind person they are, despite what I've been told about backstory, they would stand up seeing Aika and simply respond in a very kind tone. It is good to see you as well, Aika. How many years has it been?
That is going to give you a style point for your flaw. Aika kind of nudges her horse forwards towards you, katana still drawn. Some of the villagers are all like trying to back up and gasp. There's some of the spearmen are moving towards you until they realize Aika is kind of trying to deal with this herself. She dismounts and begins to stride towards you as she recognizes you now. The look of puzzlement and recognition is obvious there for a moment. I don't even remember your name.
I don't mind. I don't mind telling you once more. We didn't spend much time together. But I do remember you. It's part of my duties to remember everyone that I was part of the court. I had to remember names to be able to interact with everyone appropriately. I am Odoru Hanabira. And then they do a little bow.
She smirks as she recognizes you finally. Kaede, you're at the front of the crowd now. You have first row seats looking at this interaction. Aika's katana is drawn, and you can see this exchange. You also notice that Sai and also the other spearmen are they're behind Odoru and a little like stunned, like they don't exactly know what they're supposed to do in this. Also, Kaede, do you speak Elvish? Because this exchange is in Elvish.
I do, yes.
Perfect. So then you understand what's going on.
I should. Okay. So, I mean, front row seat, I just heard them, like, exchange pleasantries in recognition, and I'd be like, oh, maybe things aren't gonna fall out of place. But, I think, Kaede would kind of meekly wander, like, behind Odoru with Sai and the other guard, and kind of like just clutch at Odoru's tabard near the back, I guess. Kind of like she's trying to just like keep a low profile, but it's like, hey, I'm supposed to be here too. Don't mind me.
Okay. Not that you're trying, but can you roll a stealth check for me? Just I want to see how noticeable you even are.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, her detecting me trying to be like meek might, kind of play into the whole image. There you go.
Okay. So yeah, her eyes do catch you as you're getting close, but she doesn't seem to react from that. And as they're staring kind of at each other, Aika, she looks like she's trying to decide what to do with Odoru for a moment. How many years has it been? At least 80. You've changed your robes, obviously.
Yes, I've learned how to become one who hunts those who terrorize in the dark, and unfortunately for you, it seems you may have one in this very town.
Roll a diplomacy check.
Okay. Okay. Base diplomacy, right? I'm not trying to persuade. Okay, base diplomacy.
You could do intimidation if you're trying to specifically like use words to like stab at her. You could do it that way too. But
I mean, I'm not trying to intimidate. I'm being friendly. I'm just saying, hey, you got a monster in your town.
So yeah, so roll your diplomacy as she
And
judges
I will add
your
a
words.
style point. Diplomacy 1. Three successes.
A little bit of a crooked smile comes, and she just kind of like sheathes her katana slowly. Join me in the square, please. And she stands aside. She passes the reins to a spearman who begins to pull the horse out of the way, kind of towards where the tower is for the Star Temple.
Odoru, before beginning to move, would, since she sheathed her weapon, Odoru would put the wrapping that they had over the blade part of their naginata, and then use it as like a walking stick to walk forward, to show that, it's not a threat, they're just using it purposely so that they can have it on them and walk forward.
She
Since Kaede is there, is it possible that while Odoru is doing that, Kaede could kind of whisper, careful with them, don't lose your freedom.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
want to roll, I don't think I would have you
I
roll
mean-
stealth for that. I think
Yeah.
you just kind of can do it. I mean, the townsfolk nearby will probably hear you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, they probably know what that entails. They probably have loved ones that have been enlisted.
Yeah.
So
Odoru,
and then I'll back up with Sai and the other guy.
Odoru, you do hear that from the girl Kaede. And if you join Aika in the plaza, two elves standing before the town. More of the soldiers are approaching, and more villagers, as Liu Shang, Sato, and Owen are brought up into the ever-growing crowd of townspeople. Liu Shang, you're passing the city that you are kind of treating as home for the past couple years, and it's filled with the Barracuda's men, especially from this direction. It's already been emptied out, and you're just being brought in by Usui's troops. Sato is kind of at your side with Prince Oji. Is there anything you wish to do at this point, going up?
Continue to act like a villager, but I would kind of like, without drawing tradition, would try to kind of get more into this area and start looking around for opportunities to maybe slip into here and seem to be the quickest way, the safest way to get the geisha house unnoticed.
Okay. You definitely can move into that corner. They're not trying to put you in a specific place. Once you get to the plaza, you can kind of go where you want. Roll a quick survival roll, I think. You could do streetwise too, but survival is kind of more like the tracking, navigation stuff.
I don't think I have streetwise, but I do have survival.
Okay. So yeah, you know, based off this area, you can just duck between some of these houses, and if you can scale the wall, you can get into the geisha house garden. Or if, hopefully there's less guards here up in this northern street, and that's where the main entrance is, but probably your best bet is the garden, just hopping it. Maybe you can grab one of the little branches there or something. But Sato, she might have more trouble. That brings us to the geisha house. As Kaori, you are dressed and ready, and then the messenger comes in from Chang as not Ping or Pong, but just one of the geishas come into the dressing room. He's like, Madam Kaori, the Star Reader Xing, he says that there are Barracuda's troops approaching. What do you wish to do?
We continue as planned, and I would like to spend however many style points it would be required to have it be a standard practice that if the geishas are out and about on the town, that no one bothers them. It's basically, if they're leaving, they're on business.
That, I would say, is only just spend one style point, and that can just kind of be culture of everything. Geishas are off limits. So yeah, one style point, and if you exit the building through the front, you're not going to be drafted or harassed or anything. At least that's normal that you wouldn't be.
Awesome. Yeah, just if the geishas are on business, you do not bother them. That's what I'm going to spend my style point on. So for Kaori, this is the path that they're taking, and it's very, very apparent. And she will say, "We continue to go with as planned. I will take the geishas with me. We will retrieve We will retrieve the young prince and then be out, hopefully, before all of this takes hold.
I think it might be prudent for us to hide. I say, looking at Ping and Pong and their weapons.
They nod.
If they have that, if the geishas have that much power, I mean, would it be inappropriate for us to enter the geisha house without permission? Is it like sanctuary type thing?
It's probably not. Yeah, you're probably not supposed to go in there without like business or invitation.
Or an invitation, yeah.
So what are your orders, Mr. Xing?
I think it would be good to hide. Well, wait. Okay, so we're on the full map.
Yeah,
I think if they're not just going to come in here, then I think just staying bunkered down is a good idea. Maybe not with a window open, but kind of like listening and keeping an ear out.
So hiding is in remaining in the premises of the geisha
Yeah.
house and not like
in that room I was at before might be a good location to be at.
Okay. So if you want to stay put in here, that's completely fine. Kaori, how did you want to also try to wait a little bit longer? Are you going through the tunnel or want to exit out the door and just with the commotion just try to push your way through the streets? What does Kaori do?
Being that we are dressed as geishas, she's going to go off the geisha, level of respect given to these people. And she's going to take her... Do I have 4 geishas or do I have 5 with me?
There's the matron, and then if you wanted to take her with you, you can. She'd be recognizably as like the head geisha of this area. But if you just took the 4 other ones, then they'd be like... You could be the one in charge if you wanted to do it that way.
Can I take the second in command? So maybe somebody who is recognized as like maybe the next matron to be, but leaving the head matron here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah. So the instruction would be to take her. She is the one who's going to guide them to the house. Kaori is going to be in the middle to stay as concealed as possible, surrounded by the other geishas, and then they will just move very elegantly with their umbrellas across the lines of people who will hopefully just part ways with them and let them go.
Okay. And you're going up to the main street here?
Yep, we're going out to the main street, and we are taking the quickest path to where the matron to be would know how to get to where Liu Shang, Sato, and the young prince are.
So the fastest way would normally be to go through the plaza, but if that's where everybody's going, probably would backtrack and try to lead. Basically go this way and then to this bridge and then come down through the south road here and go back up to the village.
Yeah, Kaori would just be following the lead of the woman who's going to take her to the young prince. It would make sense to follow whatever path that she would take them on.
Okay, so yeah, your group of geisha kind of pass the villagers as they're going. There are troops from the Barracudas that are following up from that back area, and they are kind of coming up towards you. I would like you to roll a quick check for me. This would be... I think I will have you roll either diplomacy or con with a +4 because of everything with the outfits and the other geisha.
I will take. Both of them are the same.
And you do
I'll
also
take-
have style points too if you wanted to boost it additionally, but you have a +4 right now.
I'll take the deception. And then just put in a straight 4, no plus.
Correct. And
2.
okay, so you're about to kind of like cut down, and the guards do approach. They're not being aggressive or anything. It's like, excuse me, madams, mistresses, there is a an assembly in the town square, if you please. They look a little uncertain, but they do kind of stop.
I think Mika, or Micah,
Yeah.
would. Oh man, would she trust Kaori enough to want to speak up and explain to them that they have a mission that, well, not a mission, but they have a job that they're out to do? Or would she maybe placate that taking, would she be comfortable enough with asking them to escort them through the crowd?
I don't think Mika would think of that. Mika can make a roll for you if you want her to take points. She's got 4 dice in the appropriate skill. So if you wanted her to take point and just try to either have them escort or just kind of bypass and say it doesn't affect us, we're not supposed to necessarily be there, you can have her do it, or...
Okay, yeah. So what I will do is Kaori will kind of lean forward a little bit, maybe looking like she's adjusting her umbrella, and instruct Mika to ask them to escort us through the crowd, as we have business we need to attend to.
Okay. So she kind of puts her umbrella to the side and says, we're actually on an assignment. We have to make our way out of the city immediately. It's actually good timing because everybody's already in the assembly, so there won't be any roadblocks or people to get in the way. If you'd be so kind as to escort us. And she is going to try to roll diplomacy. 4 dice. The guards look kind of back and forth at each other, and then because you're asking for the escort, they will accompany you, but they don't like try to like stop you any further. So you begin to continue to make your way. In the plaza, unless Chang, if you're wanting to do anything, but if you're just hanging out there, basically the town is now assembled in the main entrance. Usui comes back in too. So Kaede, you are still in the group of the villagers. Odoru, you're here up by Aika. And Liu Shang, you're now in the crowd as well. And you've got your son Owen with you, and Sato. You can make a quick perception again, Liu Shang, as Aika begins to address the crowd of villagers.
Let's see. 10. Oh, didn't work.
I know what you're trying to do. The path over here looks pretty open. There's not going to be much way to run at this moment. At least you don't think so. There's might still be soldiers in the vicinity. You could try to risk it, but it'd be difficult. And then Aika begins to address the crowd, saying, "People of Iido, there are many needs of the war as we fight and battle the rebels against the Barracuda. As such, men and women of able body and age are to serve the new shogun, Shogun Moon. And she begins to step up towards and kind of look at each of the villagers one by one. She kind of paces out in front of them. Henceforth, many of you are going to be introduced into the Barracuda's army. We are here to bring you to our camp for training and immediate deployment into the war effort. She stops in front of this guy and kind of nudges him with the hilt of her katana. You, report over there. And she points over to Odoru. And the man just kind of leaves the crowd. And looks at Odoru like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And Aika turns and watches this.
I have my walking stick. Can I pretend to kind of have a bum leg?
You can. That'd be a deception con roll.
I'm going to put a style point into this.
It's a Kaede.
Come on, open up.
How old are you, Kaede?
I'm like 15. And I'm pretty scrawny.
Mm-hmm.
So up to you what you would think.
Yeah. For Aika, she kind of skips you. But right now she's selected this. It's just like a normal middle-aged, able-bodied man, and she pulls him up and kind of watches. She's watching Odoru. And she's like, report to her or to them.
When the man approaches, Odoru's very friendly. Greetings. I'm Odoru Hanabira. May I ask your name?
Yes. I do have a name. And it's a man's name, too. My name...
It's a very good name.
My name is Magobe.
Well, it is good to meet you. Stand behind me and I promise you'll be safe.
He kind of bows and he does as he's told. Aika nods approvingly. And then she begins to go through. She points to a couple more people and then kind of gets bored of it and leaves it to the soldiers. And the spearmen begin to kind of go through the crowd selecting people. Men and women, they're all kind of people of the right age are being now drafted and brought over towards the temple.
Anyone who is sent directly to Odoru, it is the same thing, introduces themselves, asks for their name, says, stand behind me, you'll be safe.
Okay. Liu Shang, did you roll? You
Yeah.
did really well.
Five successes to make it seem like he has the quarterstaff and walking stick because his leg is bad.
Okay. The spearman ignores you, looks to Sato, and Sato will also need to make a roll. I think you've got control of her character sheet. You can roll a con check for Sato. Or diplomacy. Diplomacy or con, because she's not necessarily trying to fake. But the spearman finds that she is of able-bodied age, despite holding a young toddler.
I am going to use...
Isn't she pregnant?
Yes, she
I'm
is.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna put that out there. Isn't she pregnant?
She is. I forgot about that.
Don't tell her what she can and can't do with her life. How dare you?
I was like,
Why?
no, she's not able-bodied. Wait, what? No, she's not.
Do I still need a roll?
Sorry.
Very close save.
And she is sewing. Not heavily, but still sewing.
Very, very close save. He does bypass her because of that. Very close. So Liu Shang and Sato and Owen are safe from the draft. And it kind of continues around. But you do notice two horsemen beginning to ride up the street. It's the large samurai that you saw originally, and also the Moon Reader, as they're joining now the plaza. Is anybody interacting anymore for this scene as villagers are being selected?
No, if they bypass me, I'm kind of, and I can't get a good look down here. I'm not going to make a break for it. So.
Okay. Jumping back to the geisha. You're escorted down. The city at this point is kind of empty streets. The guards lead you up until you see another samurai kind of here at just lounging, it looks like. Kaori, roll a perception check for me.
Oh, no successes.
You almost mistake him for a villager because he's not wearing any armor. But then you see that he does have a katana, just like in his picture, kind of like hoisted over. And he steps up to his feet after kind of leaning in a chair. Very nonchalant, and kind of steps into the middle of the roadway and kind of holding the katana by the sheath. He uses the hilt to kind of like motion for the guards. Leave these geisha alone. And the two guards kind of like nod immediately as if they're seeing their commander, and they just bow to the geisha and turn and begin to leave. Ichi steps up to Kaori. What's your charisma?
Oh God, my charisma's a 1.
Okay. He looks to you, then to Mika, and Mika has a 2 charisma because she's got follower stats, and he like bows extravagantly. My lady, allow me, Samurai Ichi, to be your guide and escort. Where can I take you?
Do I know that name as soon as he says his name?
This would be a check, because possibly. Do you have warfare?
Oh yeah, I have warfare.
I will have you roll a warfare check, please.
3 successes.
You do know the name probably, but it's nothing like you would have imagined or pictured. This human is little more than 21 probably, and he's not wearing any armor. He's got a loose tunic. He's got a samurai katana, and apart from that, it doesn't look like he would stand out. Like if he was in the military, he would be like complete bum, essentially. But what you know about him is he is one of the samurai of the Barracuda, and he's relatively new. Like he's not been to any of the war fronts, but he's been tasked with going from cities to kind of like search out rebellions. He's kind of not a hunter, but that's been what his role is like trying to rat out all your spies and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Okie dokie.
swirls, flourishes a bow, and like, where can I take you, ladies? If you're deferring leadership on this to Mika, she will just say the village outside.
Yeah, I will. I would hand instructions as I find necessary.
Mm-hmm. So he said, "Oh, by all means, I don't believe your presence is needed for that silly meeting. Follow me. I will be happy to escort you. Keep you safe from all those scary bandits." And he takes over and begins to lead you.
Great, wonderful, fantastic.
Back up here in the plaza. Everything is now beginning to be wrapped up as all of the able-bodied townsfolk are assembled into a line, and Usui kind of steps up to them, facing Odoru, because he doesn't really know you, and it's like, he looks you up and down, he's like, "What have we got here? An elf?" And he looks at Aika. "Another pointy ear? And already a samurai. What's your name?"
They would do a little bow and say, "I'm Odoru Hanabira. It is good to meet you."
"We'll see about that. It's never good to meet the great Usui." And then he addresses the villagers behind you. "You're all now part of the army. Assemble out in my camp outside. The village will be your new home until you've had a chance to get you up to training." And then he, still mounted, is going to begin to ride up to them to lead them. And he stops and looks down at Odoru. So what's your story? When did you join up? I've never heard of your name.
What is my story? Well, I'm a monster hunter. I'm here to hunt a monster in your town.
He looks at Aika. I think you found one. And he points at Aika and laughs. And then he begins to ride down, leading the villagers.
Before they begin moving, I'll find, grab the arm of the man who I was introduced to immediately first, and I would just give them a reassurance. You will be safe. Do not worry. Should anything happen, remember my name.
He nods gratefully. Aika will also mount up at this point, and then before everyone's dismissed, she announces, "People of Iido." Is it Iido or Iido? It's Iido. People of Iido, your star reader is outlawed. He's a traitor to the Barracuda and will be hunted down. Your new reader, which will be staying here for the next while, her name is Kami, and she points to the moon reader who rides up. She has her hood down. Kami no Tsuki, you may take the tower. And the girl nods, and she kind of looks down at everybody. Kaede, you can roll a perception, and Liu Shang and Odoru, you can also roll perception. Sato is not paying attention.
I grabbed the wrong one. Okay. I meant to click my character sheet. I hit the wrong one. So let me roll mine too. There we go.
So she's definitely a reader, but she's a moon reader, obviously. But for Kaede, you can tell that she's probably a little more years older than you, maybe 16 or 17, probably 17. So she's very young, and she's wearing the rich robes as if she's been recently elevated in status. There's barely a scratch on them and no signs of wear. It's all brand new garments. And she is beginning to go towards the temple. She does not notice any of you specifically, but she's going here. All of the troops, the new troops, are going to be escorted out. And before they get there,
I went with them.
You are supposed to go with them, unless you're not wanting to.
Well, I definitely would want to walk up to Aika to try and have a conversation.
Okay. So then, yeah, you can fall out of line as the rest of the villager recruits are being led back down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if Aika's leaving, I would try and keep pace, walking beside her horse.
She's not leaving at the same time as the recruits, so she would, if you're approaching her, she's still mounted now at this point. She looks down at you expectantly.
Odoru would look at Aika and say, Aika, it has been some time since I've returned to these lands. I've been away on a hunt for several years now. Would it be all too much to ask for a sit down? You are the one familiar face I've recognized since my time back, and I wish to learn what has happened since I've returned. It seems to be quite different than since I left Sakai.
She nods. With the regime change, everything's different. Hanabira. Petal. I'm surprised you made it so far. Come to the camp. Perhaps we can sup together.
Odoru does a little bow and will say, when do you plan on heading there? Perhaps we can travel together.
She laughs. Do you have a horse?
No, but my equipment is in a cart that I'm sure your men would not mind lending to me. They have been quite friendly on the trip down from the mountains.
Very well. Get your equipment. Meet me at the camp. I do have a horse, so I will be going there now. Find me in the camp. And then she kicks the horse in the ribs a little and begins to trot off. A little rude.
Odoru doesn't take it like that. You know, they are probably the friendliest person you will meet, and they simply take it as, yeah, you know, they have a horse. They can get there before me. I didn't come to town with a horse. You know, it makes sense. So they would walk up to Sai, you know, back up to the cart, and say, "Good Mr. Sai, I thank you for allowing me my weapon." And they will put it back in the cart and say, "If you would not mind bringing me to the camp beyond the walls, I am to have a meeting with... I like to think we're friends, so I would say an old friend."
He raises his eyebrows. Just gives you the reins to the cart. Very well.
Could I see how Sai and the other guard are feeling? Because they're like local militia, right? They're not Barracuda's men.
I believe one of them came down from the mountains. I don't remember if that was Sai or the other guy.
Sai and the other guard did come from the mountains.
Oh, they
they
were a
were
pair.
the Barracuda's men.
Mhm.
They were the pair.
Yeah.
So roll an empathy then, Kaede.
Okay. Empathy.
They don't seem to be super thrilled with any of their samurai leaders. However, they are in the service of the Barracuda, and that's their lot as a soldier.
Okay. All right. Good to know. So they're not comfortable with any of this, but they are where they are, and that's just how it is.
Yeah. The fact that they just probably like 15% of the village just got recruited.
Yeah.
That didn't seem to really bother them that much. But Aika's mannerisms and the new moon reader, all that stuff, the star reader being swept away, however, whatever happened with that, they don't seem to have an opinion on how it happened, but that was probably like evidence that the guy was bad, maybe. But also, I mean, if he's a rebel, he's bad, right? It's kind of like that.
Okay.
Their loyalty meter is probably like a 4 out of 10, if that's what you're trying to get.
All right, yeah. All right, yeah, I just wanted to get that gauge.
So, as you get your gear and begin to follow Aika down, back with Kaori, Ichi leads you, and so you get out of the town before anybody else from the plaza. You kind of make your way. You exit the village. These guys are no longer on the road. Yeah, he leads you out here and kind of, which way, ladies?
The like gentle push against Mika's back, not anything forceful, but just a gentle push would say, you know, guide him to where we need to go.
Yeah. So she's kind of still leading the pack, and basically motioning towards the Liu Shang village. Ichi trying to make more conversation. There is a dangerous rebel out here in these woods, I should warn you, so best not to leave too far from the town walls. So long as you're out here, I'd be happy to act as your guard and servant. And he will continue to lead you over the bridge into Liu Shang's village.
Now probably empty.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a as we get into the village and probably knock on the door and not get a response, Kaori would be very confused and actually probably turn to Ichi and as meekly as she can, she would probably say, "Oh, noble samurai, do you know where this village has gone?"
Okay. as you do, roll perception very quick, and then I also need to know for
Okay.
your disguise what you're carrying with you. Are you down to you like the wakizashi only?
Actually, I had a question about that. Thank you for reminding me. So this would be a little bit of bit of a backpedal, but if I knew that she could do it, this is what she would do. So, how long, game time wise, would it take Kaori to string her bow?
An action, I'd say.
Okay. So what she has done is she has unstrung her bow and hit it as the handle of the umbrella, and is like wrapped it in ribbon so it doesn't look like anything fancy. And the string for the bow is actually tucked up inside of the umbrella. And I like to think she actually has instead of the sticks like holding the umbrella together, it's actually arrows.
Okay. So yeah, that's fine. You can have all of that as you say. It's not going to hold up to like too much scrutiny. You'd have to roll a deception check if anyone looks closely. But with the disguise and how much time you put into getting dressed and everything, nobody's really doing that close look. So you can have that already done.
Cool.
And with a 3 perception, you see tiptoeing from bush to bush, Yoi and Pacho in their samurai armor, like trying to peek into the village from the other side of this building here. And as you talk to Ichi, he's like, "Oh, everybody from all the villages is in the town square for the meeting."
So with that, she will look at Mika, give her the deepest of bows, and say very softly, I am sincerely sorry, mistress. I was under the impression that they would be at their home for us to be able to retrieve her for the council meeting. Please forgive me. And she's going to be very like, trying to be as like meek little understudy geisha, just learning the ropes and talking to Mika as if she is she's a superior to her, and trying to sell that, they were coming here looking for somebody, and Kaori was the one who was supposed to have the information, and obviously she messed up, and trying to basically tell Mika, like, we have to go back inside, we have to find them, and now we have somebody who may actually help us find them.
Ichi catches on to that and kind of steps a little bit over so he can see you better, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I didn't know you were trying to see someone from the village here. You did nothing wrong." And he tries to reach over and grab your hand a little bit to reassure you.
She would take a step back. Oh my god, the gift pie. She would take a step back and give him a bow of apology, and say I'm very sorry. There is requirements to touch a geisha. I'm very, very sorry. And she will like bow a couple times in apology, but kind of make it clear, because maybe he's not familiar with the customs and stuff. And it's like, no, you can't touch me. It's one of those things you've got to pay for, essentially.
He nods. He's not the smartest person out of the 4 samurai.
Thank God.
But he's like, "No, I can read it the room a little bit." And he turns back to Mika. He's like, "Well, I am at your service. Oh, do you wish to wait? I'm afraid this is going to be turned into a military camp, but they might come back. Or we could go back to the city."
At this, Kaori would speak up and say, "Mistress, this is my fault. Please let me lead the way to make up for my for my mistake. And then she will turn to Ichi and say, can you please guide us back to the town? Maybe even going along the closest path to the town square. We're likely to run into them, and then from there it's just an easy trip to the geisha house. Would you please be so kind to give us such a guide?
My pleasure. And he is going to begin to lead the way, stepping proudly to the front. You have a moment where you can see Samurai Yoi kind of like trying to wave to get your attention.
Knowing that she needs to stay near the front, she would kind of spin a little bit with her umbrella, blocking Ichi's view, and look over at Yoi.
He points to Liu Shang's house and shakes his head and mouths, "It's empty."
She will nod and mouth forest, pointing to the giant forest behind them as a signal for, and then hold up 2 fingers for both of them, and then signal to go, and then turn back around and basically keep behind Ichi. So if he looks over his shoulder at her, he just sees he basically just sees her and then just the line of geishas behind her.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very beautiful sight. They're all in completely different styles of kimonos. All their makeup is done differently. Like, honestly, it's kind of a sight to see, but she's using that feminine distraction to keep him from noticing Yoi and Pacho as they disappear into the trees and then into the forest.
Absolutely. So they begin to run back up towards the top. And then Ichi begins to lead you back towards the town. And it's about that time that he kind of pauses and says, my ladies, we should probably step aside for the procession. The new recruits are coming. If you would be so kind. And he actually will take off his jacket, so he's now shirtless, and put it on the grass so you can stand on that there, out of the road. As Usui begins to lead out on his big war horse a bunch of troops and a bunch of villagers who have now just been drafted into the army. Usui also will ride out of the way and just kind of let the people kind of move on, and he just looks at Ichi and all the Kaori and the geisha. He's like, "Oh, you distracted little boy. Get back inside." Ichi just rolls his eyes and ignores him until Usui rides around the group. It's like, "Be careful of that one, girls." And then he rides up into Liu Shang's house, or village, where the recruits are now being sent for training. From the inside of the geisha house, because of the way that the culture is, nobody has gone inside. So Ping Pong and Chang are all still safe and secure in here for now.
I think that's where I should be at right now. It's a place for me.
Okay. So for Liu Shangde and Sato, after the kind of not coronation, but installment of the new Moon Reader, and the guards are all leaving, Aika leaves, Kaede and Sai are kind of left here. Odoru, you're going down after Aika.
Making a point to limp, he would continue. He would disperse with the crowd, heading back towards his home.
Okay.
Odoru does offer a seat on the cart to follow to Kaede, saying, "I did offer my protection to you. There is still a monster in this town, I believe. It would be against my duties to leave you behind. So please, take a seat."
Would Sato, they would want to go back to their house, even knowing that the army is over there, and not potentially wanting to hide anywhere else in the city?
I think with that kind of would make sense that maybe the inclination would be to actually go to the geisha house.
Well, because I'm just thinking is that military camp is probably going to take over that whole housing development with the well and probably kick people out of their houses. That's just my guess, but I could be
I
wrong.
hadn't. I mean, I don't know that in character yet. And even if they were, he would go back, gather his supplies, and all right, we need offer it to the out of the Barracuda, get his stuff, and move out.
I think Sato, thinking about that too, though, like bringing that up, she would think maybe it's better. Maybe Lou, maybe me and Owen, we should go to the geisha house. I'd be welcome there as a former geisha, and then you can join me if you just keep pretending. And she will point at your pretend limp.
Okay. These things. No. I'll get my. Oh, I forget the name of the horse. It's on the other from these. And get a sense of supplies and meet you back there.
Be safe, my love. And then she will.
You as well. This is a unusual situation.
Yeah, she will begin to make her way, as you as well. Kaede, do you join Odoru on the wagon?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Sai nods and says, "Farewell, little one. Good luck." And he kind of leans in at the last. Keep your head down. In a couple years, maybe there'll be another draft. You can hide in the mountains. Otherwise, you might get stuck on some mountain pass like me for 3 months.
Nervous laughter.
And he'll go, and they're gonna stay in like the inn or tavern or whatever. But yeah, if you want to jump on with Odoru, let me see who would be next. I guess Kaori would pass next. As you go through the gate, you see Aika riding kind of alone on her horse, the samurai. You would definitely recognize her, even from during Shogun's son was there. Aika was a samurai then too and served Shogun's son proudly.
She served the sun?
Mm-hmm. You recognize her from even back then.
But she was one of the sun's samurai.
She served the sun when he was, yes.
What happened to her? Was she just a samurai, or was she one of the generals?
No, she was not a general. She was just a samurai, and now she seems to have been elevated in leadership. Maybe not quite general status or not, but she has the moon's banner on her horse. The flag kind of flows, it's attached to the saddle behind her, so as she's riding, she's broadcasting the moon's logo.
Do I know what happened to her to no longer be a sun samurai?
Let me see what you'd roll. I think that'd be academics history. Do you have that?
I am not trained in it, but I have an intelligence of 4. Would warfare work?
You can roll warfare, I'd say at a -2, because it's not fully relevant. You know that she's on the opposing side. She's one of the Barracuda's samurai. But yeah, you can roll warfare -2, or if you want to offset that with style points, you can. For 2 success, she is an enemy. She's serving the Barracuda, and you assume what happened is once the coup happened and the sun died, her allegiance just went to the next shogun, which would be the Barracuda.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
You would note that she's also an elf. She's well over 100 years old. And she was a samurai for quite a while of that time when the sun was alive.
Okay, got it. Did she ever want a generalship?
I don't know how much you would have interacted with her, like to know on that level.
Okay, no worries.
I'd say you could roll a check, but I'm not sure if you have Streetwise isn't even the right one. It's more like socialization when you're in the capital type of a thing. I could say an empathy
Investigation?
check. Investigation would be good if you've got that.
Yeah, I've got investigation.
And that's not so much like investigating right now, so much as just in the past information you've accumulated.
Ah!
So not a lot. You can assume based off of her heightened status in the now being kind of in command of a squadron of troops, that there's definitely been a promotion from one before, but whether that was like a reasoning why she's not fighting for you, or whether it's knowledge she doesn't know the Prince OG is still there, or the Queen is not like rightful ruler. You don't know what any of her reasoning is, but definitely she is on the other side. And she doesn't recognize you behind the face paint. So she looks to Ichi as he's leading you, and she actually stops and she's like, "Ichi, get back to camp." He's like, I'm engaged with escorting these geisha." "Ichi, stop and get to camp." And he will turn and he'll bow to the geisha. "My ladies, I'm afraid I must go. I am summoned."
All the geishas would bow in like an eerie but beautiful unison to him, and keep a deep bow as like a thank you for escorting them as long as he had. And then Kaori would take point with Mika, just maybe a hair behind her, leading the geishas into the town again, feeling a little bit at ease that Ichi is no longer with them, but now she knows that the family she's looking for is in town.
So he bows to you as you pass. He bows to Mika as she passes. He bows to Gold, a green geisha, as she passes, then Gold, then Black, and then finally starts to walk. And Aika rides behind him, and her horse kind of forces him to start running.
To make sure he doesn't go back!
Yeah. So, and you are left almost by yourself. There are still some guards and villagers that remain kind of returning to the houses. It's a very subdued feeling as you re-enter the town. And then you see Liu Shang coming down with... are you still pretend limping?
Yep, still pretending to walk with a limp, moving towards the gate. He just needs a few personal supplies from his home and his horse.
Okay.
As he's limping, and the geishas are walking by, Kaori would hit his walking stick with her foot, and as she does, she will quickly lean over and correct it and say, I am so sorry. And as she looks up, she will look Liu Shang in the eyes, and he's seen her in geisha attire before, and the entire look on her face.
Probably to your horror, because you hate this.
Yeah, the entire look on her face is just absolute misery as she stares up at him, and her entire tone changes, and she goes, "Where's the prince?"
"Oh, my lady, it's all right. You look you look no worse for the wear. My wife and you'd say actually you said that. My wife and I'm returning to my home to grab some supplies. My wife and child have returned to the gate. Have returned to the gate of the house since I hear my house is being the town house is being
confiscated,
taken over, confiscated, or whatever the proper term is for the military camp.
Requisitioned.
Requisitioned, that's the word.
Yeah, that's the wording. Kaori, as she's like helping Liu Shang straighten up to his like hunched over walking position, will whisper very softly but very sternly in his ear, "Make haste as best you can. Get back to the geisha house. We have an exit, and we will spare you 10 minutes time. Do hurry."
If it takes me more than 10 minutes, I'll meet you on the other side of the tunnel.
Okay. And with that, Kaori would lead the girls and head straight back for the geisha house because now she knows exactly where she's going.
Okay. So we are going to pause there for a second and go to the geisha house because Chang, the doors open and Sato and Prince Oji enter into the establishment, and they immediately start to try to look for the matron, who is able to come get them, and she's going to ask for Kaori because she knows Kaori. And the matron kind of informs her what's going on and sends for, or she puts her in the room with like Ping and Pong, and then she's going to go get Chang and inform you. The Star Reader Xing, the prince is here. Oh, and you're muted.
You muted.
I'm muted. I thought I was in the other room.
You might have been. This is the map. Maybe it
Yeah.
didn't get moved.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, I did. I don't think. Okay, yeah, I was like, I'm not in the same room with her, and then I was muted, so you didn't get any of that. What Chang? No, Sato.
No, you wouldn't know Sato.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking when she was.
But you were left with the instructions that if someone came in and knew of Kaori's name, that would be your contact.
Chang would immediately get up and see that she's holding somebody who should be the prince, and he would immediately do a bow.
She bows back, not used to thinking about that, and so Sato thinks that you're addressing her and doesn't realize you're bowing to your future king, essentially.
Yeah, no. All of a sudden, the king comes. Sorry, originally I was like, he's in the other room. I don't need to do. Nope. Bow. Immediate bow. Still in a bow, I would say. Kaori has gone out. It would be safe for her to return. For now, we shall stay hidden. There is an exit. Is there anything you need?
She will think for a moment, then like, supplies for the journey. We don't have anything with us. And she looks at Prince Oji. Maybe diapers. No, he's 2.5. He doesn't need diapers anymore. Yeah. The two guards, Ping and Pong, they're going to just take positions as guards for the room here, since you're in relative peace and quiet still.
Am I wrong to mistake that? What is this? Is this an entertainment house or is that a bouncer?
I think that's a podium where you put the clothes on when it's not being used.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
That's like a mannequin.
Okay, that I was zoomed out, so I thought it was that. Sorry. My bad.
The geisha house full of bouncers now.
100%. That is exactly this canon for me now.
I was thinking like a sumo wrestler type.
Perfect. Yes, it's a sumo wrestler, and he's got geisha face paint on. That's who is guarding this place.
Amazing.
Wait. Okay, so you have the ugly stepsister from Shrek.
Yes.
Oh man, that's funny.
Sorry. I would have Sato sit and rest and make sure the prince is taken care of before. Before talking with the head matron to see what we can get as far as supplies go. I really don't think we're gonna want a whole lot, though. I think minimal is better.
Okay, yeah.
Gosh, I have tears. That was funny.
That was funny. So, Kaori, you're making your way back now, right?
Yep. Trying to move as elegantly but as swiftly as as we can.
The villagers and all the spearmen and troops and stuff make way, like they part ways for you, and you actually have a kind of a spectacle of people watching you come back. As you go up, you do pass the cart where Odoru and Kaede are heading down.
So, I do have an interesting question. As Odoru passes the geisha, they do, like a head nod to them. But on their shoulder pauldron, they don't wear the armor, but on their shoulder pauldron, they do bear the marking of a certain monster among men that Kaori may recognize.
Yeah, that's true. As you pass Kaori, you can roll a perception.
Friggin' A, way to
My
drop the
life,
ball.
man.
You are on a mission.
I one track mind for Kaori today. I have got my prize on lock right now. And I just need to get my butt back to the geisha house. And McKenzie is mad.
So while Kaori is walking by, I don't think Kaede would expect anyone she recognizes to be in the geishas, but she would look for Chang among the geishas, seeing as that's where he went last. But I would imagine that may result in an accidental finding.
Yeah. Do you have hold on, let me think. So Kaori's moving up the street. I don't think Kaori would really, especially with the one perception, doesn't recognize you.
I don't imagine.
But I will have you roll a perception check as well.
Okay.
I imagine the one doesn't recognize the marking either.
No, unfortunately not. Though that was would have been really cool, and I'm kind of sad about that. But from next to you, Kaede looking down towards the geishas. It's just, it's always fun to see them go around. But this one, Kaori, you said that you had manufactured your boa to be kind of concealed amongst your umbrella, correct?
Yeah.
So Kaede, that is not. It's not so much Kaori so much as it's that you see. You see one of the umbrellas, the one that Kaori is holding. Kind of the haft of where the handle is for the umbrella is actually, you notice it to be the bow, but that's not the interesting thing about it. You notice the unique markings of the oath bow, specifically that weapon that she carries. You've seen that very much before.
Would that result in me putting 2 and 2 together for who that might be?
Would you have known who it was made for? Probably. Kaori was a general.
Yeah, probably,
yeah. So...
Do I need to make a roll or anything like that?
Let me see. It's not so much even academics. It's more like memory. I'd say it'd probably just be kind of straight intelligence.
Okay. Yeah, I'll roll
Throughout
straight
the
intelligence.
primary attribute. Kind of your memory of your father spending weeks.
Whoa! Wait, what? How did that?
When you roll primary attribute, it doubles the score.
Oh.
So
okay, I thought I was like.
So you're rolling double what the number is when you roll primary attribute. Normally there's no calls for the primary, but when there is, you roll double. It's 2 times the number.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you've got almost like a flashback as you remember your father in the smith, taking extreme amount of precision and time to get this string of the samurai steel inlaid into coils around this majestic bow. That's spent so much time into this weapon that was to be gifted and given to Kaori upon her becoming the general for the Shogun's son. A very rare accomplishment for especially a human. And the time that your father spent on that weapon, you remember him slaving away for weeks, and you recognize that weapon in the geisha's hand. And you maybe don't recognize Kaori specifically, but that's definitely the weapon that she would wield.
Okay. I think from that, and knowing that Chang is in town, I think Kaede would realize that like something's up, but like she's kind of split down the middle between like wanting to get Odoru out of the situation that they're in and like trying to regroup with Chang. So oh geez, what gesture do I okay. Is it possible to pretend to drop something off the wagon in the way of these geishas that are walking by?
Yeah, though, are you trying to like basically get their attention?
Yeah, like briefly get in their way because Kaori's taking point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes.
I'd say that's kind of like I wouldn't necessarily say that's con, maybe streetwise, or even. Well, what are you trying to drop in front of them? Like maybe athletics or acrobatics, rather, to like slip something down. Larceny. It would be larceny, actually. Sorry.
Larceny.
Just
Okay.
reading through the skills. Doing something kind of sleight of hand would be larceny.
Oh, okay. Then, I mean, I'll still roll larceny. It's not going to be great. It'll probably be really obvious that I dropped it on purpose. But let's see. You know, it's kind of obvious.
You don't have larceny. Now, okay, I will let you do a reroll if you want. You can. You'd be at 0 dice, so you can spend style points if you still want to roll, but it would just be pure style points. You have a little bit of a dragon's horde there. If you wanted to, you could do it that way. Otherwise, it just wouldn't work.
Oh no. Like the bag that I'm throwing overboard just like falls in the same wagon.
You bump it, and like before you pick it up, it's like the opportunity is too late.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to figure out what I can do in this situation to get her attention.
So you got to think because she's walking by. She's getting
Yeah, she's
closer.
walking by.
She's almost up to the wagon. Odoru's wagon is now parallel with them. You see Kaori side by side with you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, okay. I'm gonna say, kind of like passively, but loud enough for Kaori to hear. The sun in general is so unpleasant for ladies like us. I should try to meet up with my friend in the geisha house later.
Kaori, roll. Not perception.
Would that be like just a maybe an intelligence check to see if I can understand what's trying to be said to me?
It would be linguistics for like code, I think. I will give you.
That makes sense.
I'll give.
Would you do warfare if it's supposed to be code?
Because
or empathy?
I think I do like empathy better than warfare.
Okay.
If you're not trained in linguistics, then I'll take empathy instead.
Correct. I am not trained in linguistics.
Okay, so go ahead and roll an empathy as you kind of like look over at this passing wagon. You catch the word that Odoru, Kaede is saying. So she says the words "son" and "geisha house" and "friend." Those words kind of catch your attention, as you are passing by. The wagon is going in the opposite direction, so the moment is just about past.
Is there a... Can I... Oh, yeah, here we go. Can I spend a style point for in this world to be when geishas are inviting people to the geisha house, they give them an item of some kind to indicate that they are allowed in the geisha house?
Yeah, that makes sense. It can be like in the Middle Ages, the favor that the ladies would give the men, or something, like some sort of thing like that, or a writ, some sort of letter.
How many style points would I need to spend to do that?
Just one.
Perfect. So yeah, I will spend one style point, and hearing that, I will turn my attention to Mika and inform her to fall back and give one of those passes to the young girl in the passenger seat of that wagon.
She'll nod, and very perceptive and astute will immediately follow orders. And what she does is she actually turns to the lady behind her, who turns to the geisha behind her, until the last person, who's now parallel with the retreating wagon, is closest, and will actually step forwards to it and attempt to give Kaede kind of this invitation.
If I see this geisha running after the wagon, I would certainly jump off really quick and accept the gift, bow, and then run back to scurry back onto the wagon.
Okay.
Because it would be kind of uncouth if I let a geisha run after us.
For sure. Style point, because that's true. Odoru, you see all this happening, the wagon kind of bounces for a second as Kaede jumps off, and then you see the exchange, and she returns.
I mean, Odoru would have definitely stopped the wagon to observe and wait. And they definitely have some interesting suspicions now.
Okay.
Is there ever a point where during the ride, maybe on an empty street or whatever, where Odoru would be able to get a word with Kaede without a guard overhearing?
Probably the bridge.
Okay. Well then, after the letter is handed and Kaede gets back on the cart, Odoru, doing their best, simple, casual conversation, but kind of hushed tone, would say, when you have the chance, would you mind telling me about the magics that surround you and why you have spirits following you?
I think Kaede would be kind of nervous getting called out like that, but seeing as you haven't ratted her out yet, she would respond, I would love to. As soon as we have a moment to ourselves, perhaps we could ask for a room in one of the nearby houses near the encampment. We didn't bring tents, and they must surrender their homes for soldiers to sleep in anyway.
Yes, this sounds like it would make good conversation. And they've had their eyes forward the entire time, riding on this cart. They're definitely not a smirk of haha, I caught you, but they definitely have a smirk on their face of not they aren't smiling because they caught you. It seems to be more of a smile of, I've put my monster hunting skills to good work, and they think they found the quote unquote witch of Iido. And then they continue the ride.
Facing forwards, you see coming around is the troop of the 4 Moon Reader acolytes. They're all hooded and very specifically like concealing their identities, but they're wearing the red robes. And that you pass them as they move in the opposite direction.
Would I be able to do a perception check to like see if I see under the robes?
Yeah.
I would love to. Perception. Shaboom.
As you pass, underneath the cowls, you can see the shapely face masks of an Oni as they are walking by. You don't see any features besides that, but they've got Oni masks on underneath.
Very interesting. I mark that knowledge to myself. Assuming they are one of a kind, I assume I don't recognize any of them.
No, you've never seen something like this before.
Okay. Well, I mean, like the mask.
You know what an Oni is, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, each one is not. They're not the same all as each other. Like each mask is individually.
Yeah,
its own
that's
thing.
more what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Like I don't recognize. They're all unique masks. I don't.
Yeah, they're all
Okay.
separate, but also very obviously the same like thing type of thing.
Mm-hmm. So I'll make mental note of that, and then just continue on towards the village with Kaede.
Okay, and in the village, Liu Shang Day, limping, making your way. I believe you'd be overtaken at this point by Ichi and Aika. However, she does not seem to pay any attention to you, as she is in. She's loudly berating him for slacking in his duties, working for the emperor, not for the emperor, but for the shogun. Like he's supposed to be commanding his troops. He's supposed to be considered a commander, a general, and he's just chasing woman and geisha. Stupid boy. You overhear this. It's in the human tongue, common, and they kind of ride off into this area where you can see all of the troops are assembling the villagers, and Usui is like pacing, shouting, doing like drill sergeant stuff with them, getting them kind of all in order. And you kind of come up. What would you do as you cross the bridge?
He would make his way towards his home until someone said something to him.
Okay. You are not trying to stealth at all?
No.
Okay. 1 second. You might be okay. But Usui is not super distracted by his grunts and recruits. He sees you coming up the road, and he pauses and he shouts, "Ichi, boy, get up here!" Who actually kind of hustles up after being in trouble with Aika. And Ichi is supposed to take over because Usui begins to stride directly towards you.
Master Samurai?
Why aren't you in the line of recruits? You seem able-bodied.
He's still been limping.
Does a limp stop you from being cannon fodder? Get in line!
I was not selected to be recruit. I am really returning to my home to empty it so that it may be used for the honor of the Barracuda.
Home? You mean our camp? And he points back at your house. This is property of the Barracuda now. This is a military establishment, and you are being recruited.
I'm afraid I would not be a good soldier with my leg, good sir.
At this point, I will need you to roll. This will be a diplomacy or a con. I think this is more of a con, because you're still trying to maintain the lie.
Right. What is this now? Here we go. And okay, and then. Oh, I'm afraid I will not be a good soldier. I will merely return for my horse and return and meet my wife in the village.
Ah, a horse, you say? Very valuable asset. Thank you for your donation. Now you've been successfully recruited, and we will teach you how to stop making such puny weakling excuses. And he's gonna grab you and try to, like, pull you up to the recruit line.
Would stumble along.
You wait a couple weeks and I'll teach you how to use one of these. And he pulls out the odachi. And it's a huge weapon that you are very familiar with. It's like, now watch the power of a true samurai. And he is going to swing his sword. And I forgot. This is going to be hilarious because absolutely nothing happens. Probably. Yep. Nothing happens. As he just whoosh, 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 demonstrates some swings, but no magic happens at all. At that point, you are now kind of in the line, and you're going to try to... Are you going to do anything else besides that?
He would try to wait to get away until there was a moment of distraction. Get to the... I still, because we're not on this page and it's on the front page, I'm still blanking on this horse's name. And
we can actually move all you guys to the actual page here. I keep forgetting I have them.
I just don't remember what name it was.
Guru and Zunsu, it looks like.
Oh, he had two? Oh, I thought one of the other horses was... Okay. But, I think Zensu. Yeah, Zensu was his horse from the very beginning. So he would just try to make his way. When he was teaching someone else, he would try to sneak over towards Zensu, and he'd already been saddled because I was expecting trouble.
That. Yeah, you prepped it all. I remember that. So yeah, if you are going to try to wait till the opportune time. It will be a stealth check, and because of the way that everybody's kind of in lines, it's kind of like a military drill type of a thing, it would not be very easy to slip away at this point. But if you want to try, you can. It's just the difficulty would be much higher.
I mean, what about all the other people who returned here? All the other people from the village. I mean... Okay, fine. They're distracted, but the others, would be...
One thing, actually, that's a good point, is your neighbor is here. He was recruited. There's the families over here, they're probably not daring to go back into the village directly with the whole encampment right up there.
Well, okay, that would have been a good thing to know. I assumed that my assumption of the culture was we would be able to. They were taking over the buildings, but we would be able to go in. If the culture was so, this would have happened. This wouldn't have.
If you didn't know that, then
can we use a style point to backtrack and clarify that of what is happening in the environment around the cap?
I'd say yeah. If you didn't realize there's like only military camp stuff up here now, then
yeah, like when he was going back, was it like him by himself traveling back and not other people going with him? Because I really don't think he would have gone out the gate had he been just walking by himself to his house. I really think that it was a horrible idea, but I didn't want to say anything because I was by myself at Geisha house. But I don't think he would have gone back for anything if he was putting himself at that potential risk with there not being any sort of other cover.
The culture, from my understanding, was everyone, only able-bodied people were recruited, and all the civilians were going back to their place, including the civilians of this town. And I figured there'd be lots of civilians grabbing a bag of stuff, and then evacuating the village. But if that wasn't the case, if they immediately sealed off the town, he would have gone back. He would have gone here immediately, and not even gone this way.
Even if there were people who are going back, which I wasn't thinking that there's like other villagers going, but yeah, it makes sense that they would. But if you're also an able-bodied person, even with the limp, Usui doesn't care about that. If you wanted to kind of hold off, knowing kind of like this, like it's very obvious that the troops are starting to mill about the area, but if you want, I will let you redo your action. Usui would not care whether there's villagers or not. If you're a able-bodied person, even with a fake limp, he doesn't care about that.
He was about to recruit a pregnant person. I mean,
Oh, that was a guard. Usui probably would have. Usui does not give a shit about anybody. But
If there was not a bunch of villagers going back for the stuff, for simple stuff, I probably would have gone back with Kaori.
okay, I will let you withdraw the action of getting up there, because if Usui sees you going back up there, he's going to recruit you. Just flat out.
I don't understand this being the cult. I mean, this is completely different from what I thought was happening.
welcome to the Barracuda's reign.
Yeah, I mean, they're taking over the area, but I mean, still this family's here. Like, this person had 2 kids. I mean, the wife and the 2 kids didn't grab their stuff and leave.
They didn't have time, no.
Well, like, I mean, he's maybe in the military now, but I mean, all that stuff.
Like, if people are going back to get their stuff, they're not of the demographic he's looking for, he would ignore them. But if anybody that didn't get, or like managed to make it out of recruitment, is coming back walking up the street, and he's doing drills with all the new recruits, he's going to grab that person no matter who it is, whether it's their neighbor, you, or anybody else. It's they are taking over, requisitioning, like we said, this entire village, the farmhouses, the bedrooms, the stables. It's all being taken over by Usui's people. He specifically came up here to set his camp on this side of the little river because he wanted to do that, because he's an asshole.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
Was there any possibility that either Liu Shang or me, I would even spend all of my style points for him to have hid his horse with his gear in the forest before he left?
Well, the horse would have been here, but his gear is not in the house.
But is his gear? Oh, is his gear in the forest?
His gear is I would imagine his gear is in the tunnel.
Oh, nice. Did we say that ahead of time?
That no style
Or did
points
you?
is needed for that.
Okay.
It would actually be fairly bad idea to keep like samurai weapon and stuff in the house.
No, that's
I
what I
guess-
was thinking. I was thinking, oh crap, I'm pretty sure his gear is on his horse. I was like, oh dear.
Can I
Okay.
spend those
Okay.
style points to say that he returned with them instead of?
I won't make you spend style points. You spent what, 2 style points? I'll give those back to you because we can retcon this, because it's kind of more my fault for not describing things adequately. But yeah, we can retcon that whole thing. But that's what would have happened if you tried to just walk up the road, even with pretending to have a limp or anything. If you
And
could
that's
pick
why
it
my
up,
character stayed in the geisha house.
this guy is not a very nice guy. this samurai guy. So following along, we can say that you kind of look out through the town gate, see kind of what's going on in the village, and you circle to follow back after Kaori and the geisha. which would mean you would also pass the moon readers incoming by.
So that would be a perception check.
No, you wouldn't need to roll perception because they're coming in, so you'd see them by the time you get up to the gate, walking up in a line, and they're not moving slowly. So if you turned around, even with your pretend limp, you'd be able to just move back. But you see these people coming through this way. So if you are going back to just meet at the geisha house, anyways,
he would still walk with the limp, but he would try to hurriedly walk with the limp to try to get back the invisible side of them.
So you then pass Odoru and Kaede coming up with the wagon.
Can we make an empathy check to see if he's faking it?
That would be a perception check, I think.
Oh, okay, I'll take that. Just to break the flow of the tense situation. Oh yeah, he's faking it.
Well, I had a 5 in my deception.
Oh, was it 5?
Yeah, it would be the one from up in the courtyard, which I think was a while back, but I think it was 5, yeah.
Okay.
So that is it's a man wounded maybe from an old war wound, but he's kind of hobbling along, it looks like. I'm not sure there's anything Odoru and Kaede have in the wagon that would really be that much attention drawing for Liu Shang Day.
Oh no, that's fair. That's fair.
No.
Yeah. So that kind of brings us out to where everybody's essentially reuniting at either the geisha house or Kaede and Odoru heading back out into the military camps. And I think I'm going to call a quick 5-minute break. So bathrooms, food. It's about 8:21. Let's meet back at 8:30, and then we'll do a little bit more if that's cool with everybody.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Also, Liu Shang, if you did not get back by the time we were, I would have you.
You would have what?
I would have left you. I would have left him because I would have taken the prince out. I would not have cared.
If it would have taken longer, he would have met you on the other side of the tunnel.
Yeah, no, probably. But
But
I was thinking as I was hiding, and I was like, that's a really bad idea. Don't do that. I probably shouldn't say anything. That's a really bad idea. You're gonna get recruited. I bet you those guys are assholes. Yeah.
So, alrighty, so we'll jump on a quick break, resume at the 30-minute mark if everybody's cool.
Sounds like a plan.
Cool. Alright, BRB.
McKenzie and I are back.
Cool. I am just moving tokens. Let me switch the stream back.
I never left.
That was scary.
You never leave. You're always here. Always watching, Wazowski.
I'm glad I scared you.
Always
That was on purpose, and I'm glad McKenzie can immediately follow it up and ruin the scare. Thanks, McKenzie.
You're welcome. I'm always here for that. Cheers.
Always here to ruin my moment.
Okay.
Prince OG is a wide baby.
He's a very white baby. And he's actually not a baby anymore, but whatever. I didn't switch it to the kid version of him.
Kenzie, you're like my foil, is what you are. I do a thing, and you come in here, you foil it.
Oh, see, foil conducts. So I can either foil you in the bad sense, or I can conduct all of your BS and make it go further.
You know, can you do that more often? Do that
No.
part more often, please.
No.
I would greatly appreciate if you could
No.
enhance
No.
my shenanigans. I'll get a yes eventually if I keep bothering.
I mean, we'll see where the shenanigans lie, because there is a possibility.
See, I know how you work. Eventually, if I just keep going, all will succumb to the pie.
I mean, after, 3 years? You
Yeah.
should have at least somewhat figured out by now.
I think I do. I think I have it figured out. It's just, you still fight back.
I do.
Wait.
I do. I fight
Wait.
the pie.
Adrian,
Yes.
Do you remember the plot we were supposed to go with for like the season that ended on the first episode because of my character's death?
Yes.
Oh my god, that was so tragic.
What about it?
What we talked about where it would potentially go. You said Chang might know the location, but he wouldn't actually be able to get in. Would sorry, I forgot your character's name.
Ping.
Would Ping be able to get in? Not ping pong. The star reader. Sorry, the sun reader.
The girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a sun.
Kaede could if she's a girl sun reader. It doesn't matter if it's girl or boy, but the fact she is a sun reader, yes.
Okay. Would I have talked to Kaori at all about that?
Like the coronation ceremony?
Yeah.
I did. McKenzie, do you have any idea what we're talking about?
Not a clue.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was tuned out too.
I do not believe Kaori knows specifically about that. You have probably spoken with Queen Hana about that.
Okay.
Because there's no. The rest of that.
Sun Raider.
Yeah, it's still.
Yeah.
It's still a secretive piece of the royalty, so it's not even common knowledge. But as you're thinking about these things, the doors do open, and Kaori leading Mika and a couple of the other geisha, I think there's supposed to be 4, but whatever. They're there. Come through the door. And Kaori, you see Chang standing beside Sato. She's holding...
I step forward, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Sato is holding her sleeping toddler, Prince Oji, also known as Owen. And she looks over at you, recognizes you with the makeup on, and she smiles. Very smile.
The look on Kaori's face is relief seeing Sato there with Oji, and then as soon as she gives that kind of like knowing smile, because she was part of the group of people who put Kaori in geisha before, she just gets this look of like, oh my god. And she instantly, feeling like her mission is done, she will start towards one of the rooms, taking the other geishas with her to get undressed, but she will stop and she will turn and say, I believe we have another ally in the city along with Liu Shang who I've given 10 minutes time. Yes. He's on his way here. He should be here soon, but we will wait until I get changed, and then 10 minutes time for a possible another ally to join us. If they do not show up within the allotted amount of time, we will leave, and we will leave swiftly.
Oh no, we can't leave without Liu. Thank the stars he's coming. Here. And she's going to turn to Chang, and she's going... No, she's not. She's going to turn to Matron Gwen.
So, Louis is his family name. I know we're Americans and we think that way, but it's Lou is his last name. So
Shang would
be... to Americanize the name, it's Sang Day Lu. But in the Oriental style, it's family name, last name Lu, Sang Day.
That makes sense. I did not realize you ordered it that way. That's actually style point for... That's cool.
Yeah, I did the same thing with my other character, and then I totally mixed up his first and his last name.
So you've seen Shang. She is going to pass the sleeping baby to the matron, and then she's going to come up, and she kind of is holding her belly, and Kaori, you can see she is with child, and she's going to give you a hug.
Kaori, being the awkward person that she is, will kind of like freeze, and then will very like slowly like lift her arms and give Sato like a couple gentle pats, but then immediately put her arms down and say, he's on his way. Do not stress. Just relax. And then I will get undressed, get in my gear. We will wait a little bit for this possible contact, and then
if they do not show up within 10 minutes time after I am done, she kind of looks down at herself and gives like a sigh of just like, I can't believe I did this again. Then we will depart.
May I ask what the contact looked like?
Young girl, big hat, tiny.
Okay. I would inform you of this person's name. I saw them earlier. Thank God you contacted them.
They spoke enough code to make me realize that they were possibly someone that we could trust. Though if they choose to be otherwise, they will die by my hand.
I guarantee you that person is probably wanted to be killed by the the Barracuda just right under the prince and his family.
I see a flaw coming into play. I'm awarding Kaori a style point for.
Thank you.
Sato insists upon going into the changing room with you to help you take off your makeup, and she.
Oh, as much as Kaori, there every like she doesn't wear her expressions very often anymore, but the mask has dropped, and she's just like of the utmost, just like I want to get out of this. But the fact that Sato is just like relishing in this moment, she absolutely hates it. She's not mad at Sato, she's just not happy with the whole situation.
And it doesn't take that much longer once this is involved for Liu Shang Day to kind of come up, enter into the building. You see this giant bouncer, this sumo wrestler with geisha face makeup. He opens the door and like, come in. And then he looks over at a spearman who's just outside watching, frowns, and slams the door.
I'm assuming I've lived here. This is. I know this guy.
Yeah, his name is Bert, and he has a soft spot for OG.
Hello, Bert.
Just the other shift.
I'm assuming he's looks down and kind of depressed. It's like Sato is here, right? She made it safe.
Once you get through the... Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
He's not through the door yet, but as soon as Liu Shang get through, Chang bow and receive. Thank you.
Oh, you're cracking up a little bit bad. I'm sorry.
I was earlier when you were talking about the I was actually cracking up. That was really funny. Can you hear me now?
We can, yes.
When Liu Shang would get through the door, Chang would greet him, introduce himself, and say thank you for protecting the prince. You have my eternal gratitude.
When you say the name, it's like, it's not underneath the thing. It's like you're. He would not mention the last name. Are you? He would say your father. I'm blanking on the name at the moment.
You can just call him. Yeah.
Hey, Ching, are you related to Xing?
He was my father.
I'm sorry. I knew him briefly.
Many people have been lost with this situation that has happened. I am just grateful that His Highness is all right.
Oh. It was great, Emma. I feel great saying that I was not able to protect your father in that situation. But it's been my honor to protect Sato and Owen.
I believe your wife is helping Kaori. Chang fights a smile.
Oh, she must be enjoying that.
Oh, I'm sure they will take their time. However, we must make haste to prepare our departure. We cannot stay long.
Yes, I was unfortunately unable to retrieve my horse. He's been with me since the beginning, before the beginning of this. But
It's better not to risk it. Your safety is more important than your horse's safety.
may have an idea. I mean, I don't know. Would I be able to call him? He's been with him for all this time. Would he be able to, if I called him from the forest, would he be able to potentially break out?
You could try,
do you
especially
have,
if you.
you have
Sorry, go ahead.
do you have any sort of connection to your horse? Something hair or hair.
It was just he looks around on his old peasant outfit. Are there any horse hairs? Because he was just saddling the horse.
Yeah. If you want to actually have a piece of hair from it, I would need probably a style point for that.
Okay.
I can
will
spend
a
one of
style
mine
point.
too, or not. Yeah.
I'll spend a style point that there is some horse hair from when he was saddling the horse.
Okay. So yeah, you happen to have some kind of caught into your belt or something to that effect.
Is your horse tied up?
No, but there is the stable gate, but I don't know if that would stop him if he was encouraged enough.
Is he a capable horse?
He is a fine breed. He would go into his lineage. He's probably had this horse since he would worked for a noble lord.
I'm trying to think of where would be the best place to meet up if I were to break him loose. I feel the forest is not a good location. If a horse goes trotting off there, then, well, our escape might be potentially guarded. Can I spend this time to do a ritual to try to get the horse to break out, run away? Wait, we came from the south direction, right? Do we need to head south to escape, or do we need to head
The horse is
west?
important to him.
West.
If he can't get it back, it's not the end of the world. But
I have style points and still have time.
It was definitely important to him.
Okay. We're at the X, the war is left. Okay. So and we need to be on the other side. Okay. Can I do a magic ritual, spend my points, use this horse hair, have the horse break free, and start heading following the road down and then head south? And we can potentially meet up with the horse again. I mean, we have time and I have style points. Adrian?
Oh my goodness, I've been muted this whole time. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
this is getting awkward.
Bert in Chinese looks like it's bote, but I know it's not Japanese, but I like that. So here's Bert. You can roll your ritual spell. Yes.
Cool.
Let me get the challenge for you really quick. So this would be, I'd say, average difficulty, but you're further away, and so I would put that up to tough still. So a challenge of 3, and then the actual spell difficulty table. Getting a horse to like run and break away, that's easy. So you would need to get 3 successes, but you have a 3 penalty.
Okay. I'll go ahead and use 3 style points and negate that and just roll it flat.
Sorry, say again?
So I rolled it flat using 3 style points. Is that how it would work, Adrian?
No. So you'd still add the style points.
Oh.
So you take the total successes and you then minus 3, and that's your net successes. So if you want, you can add those 3 style points in manually or just.
So should I roll separately?
You can carry on doing Actually, hold on. Did you have burn take effect?
I
Just
have
roll the
talent.
style. Roll the 3 style points. That would be simpler.
Hold on. I don't have anything that has a.
You can just roll 3 dice.
Where is my dice? Aren't showing up. Oh, there they are. There we go.
Okay, so that'd be 5 minus 3. So you have 2 successes. So the ritual, because this is not like Samurai Steel, you can just keep building this spell.
Okay.
What does it look like, though, for everyone as you are a pro star reader casting in this room, in this office, dining
I
room?
probably would go to back here so I'm not in the way while I'm doing it, and I would sit down holding the horse hair. Maybe like a soft breeze is kind of blowing the hair like it's a blade of grass, and finding the connection to its counterpart, the hair, and getting a connection with the horse. I think I'm gonna have to do that again then, huh?
So you have one more roll that you need to do. You have 2 successes built towards the spell, the ritual.
Okay. Submit. I rolled it.
I might just be thinking.
Yeah, I rolled it. Should I try again?
Quiet
Hold on.
thinking.
I'm just gonna try it again.
Go ahead, and then Liu Shang,
Submit.
you can.
There we go.
Okay. So Liu Shang, go ahead.
Quiet thinking, he would go over to Owen and is Owen asleep or awake?
He's awake, asleep still.
Okay.
The matron has a very good hand with kids.
Okay. So he would check on her, but if he's still asleep, that would be. Oh, does he hand him to me? Okay.
Yeah. She gives him to you as soon as she knows that you're his quote dad unquote.
Adopted father. Mm-hmm. He's probably still too young to understand adoption, but.
Yeah. So. Across the room, there's kind of that flash of light as Chang's spell takes hold, and over in the village. Oh, this is the wrong village. The horse, Zunzu, begins to kind of like kick and buck, and as like soldiers and stuff are coming, like going inside and outside of houses and whatnot, they're gonna like try to take the reins and untie, and then the horse just breaks loose. The fence kind of collapses, and the horse runs out of the village and disappears. No, there's a little bit of a chase, but you can't outrun a horse. And Zunzu runs away. Zunzu gets the zoom zooms.
Zoom.
He's pot cat.
Okay, so back in the geisha house, Sato kind of dusts off the last of your makeup, Kaori, and you're able to start redonning your armor. Sato comes out, Liu Shang, and kind of runs over and gives a big hug, kisses you and Oji and all that. It's a very heartwarming.
My life, my son, the morning star. I'm glad you're safe.
There's a moment of just harmony as you and your family are reunited, not in the village and the troops, which is exactly where Kaede and Odoru are about to be. Coming up in the wagon, you can see. Actually, no, you would not need to go over there, and Ika actually would not be over there either. They would have only gone down to this southern camp because that is where their stuff is. Ichi got dragged up there to help out with the work of the drill sergeant. But if you both are coming into this camp, you can see there's soldiers kind of still finishing out the last tents and supplies that need to be done. Aika is in her own tent, which is a little bit more lavish, large, more of a pavilion. And you can see that there is one... where is he? Oh, I have it. He's up here. So, Ichi's still up there. So there's nobody commanding troops specifically down here, but they are kind of getting ready to go on a search after a rebel, apparently. And as you come up to the village, what do? You're not really approached by these spearmen here.
And what I know of Aika's tent?
It's hard to miss.
Okay. If that's the case, then I would begin bringing my cart, or the cart near the tent to try and speak with Aika more privately.
Okay, and you get up there. The tent is not sealed, so you can't just enter in. It looks like it's a very spacious but one room. There's a little divider set up for you to change and bathe behind and stuff, but for the most part it's just kind of open. And she is in her samurai armor with the helmet now off, and she's standing over a table looking at what looks to be a map of the area.
Before going in, I would speak with Kaede and say, "You are under my protection. I would make sure no one would stop you should you wish to follow me into this tent, or you may stay with the cart. Again, you'll be protected. However, I would like to, before we have our own conversation, go speak with an old friend."
I will follow after.
Very well. And Odoru would get off using the naginata as a walking stick, still with the blade part covered, and walk towards the tent.
Okay. You make entry. She is alone in the tent, again looking over a table, kind of leaning down, observing the region, the surroundings of Iido, looking at the mountains, the forests, the rivers, trying to pinpoint something, it looks like.
Odoru would approach the tent, not wanting to interrupt or be rude. Would likely stand there to await, Aika noticing them and say, you can enter.
She notices you, and then she makes you wait for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then she's not as rude as some of these other people's, but she does kind of look over and just like, "Are you going to come in? Or just stand there?"
My apologies. It is usually customary to await the acceptance of entrance.
I believe I gave you that in the city. She's still facing the map.
Acceptance for a meeting. I didn't want to be rude.
She'll turn finally. It's like, "Come in then."
I hope you do not mind my companion here. They are under my protection as a monster hunter.
She looks
I believe that one may be following them, and so I've offered my protection.
She looks at Kaede for now, for the first time, like more in depth, measuring your general look. What is your like garments like, and what assumptions might be made about Kaede in this moment in time?
This is a good opportunity because I had a description written and it just never came up. But here we go. She's a young teenage girl with short black hair and a small frame. She appears to be unarmored and unarmed. A simple sarashi covers her torso, showing only her midriff. And she sports a dark leather half jacket. At her waist is a tied and somewhat ragged black yukata with a red and blue floral print. Underneath, she sports cropped pants with some padding and sandals. Her gloves blend in with the rest of the outfit with red lace around the fingers. And across her back is a leather satchel. far too small for any blade to fit in except the shortest of knives or daggers. And upon each ear hangs a glowing yellow earring, illuminating a somewhat meek impression. And she... I don't think it's too far stretched to say that she is really not intimidating at all. Body of 3, dexterity of 2, and a strength of 1.
Yeah, so really an unimposing figure. No armor or anything like that. Just kind of you look like you would just belong in the town for the most part. Is that fair to say?
Basically, if even that, yeah. Like my gear is very the yukata is historically accurate to be worn at this time of year, but the way she's wearing it is like no one taught her manners. Kind of. It's like that's not the proper way you wear a yukata.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be kind of like that.
So she kind of looks you up and down, and there's nothing about your description that really screams reader or anything like that. So
No.
So she just kind of shrugs and beckons for an actual couch that's in her pavilion. There's a seating couch, the very much you would not expect to find in a war camp. She motions towards it. Please. So and she holds a hand up to kind of like pause Odoru for a second. She kind of like steps towards Kaede for a second. What's your story, girl? Why do you accompany a monster hunter? And she looks at Odoru kind of like you're a monster hunter.
Okay, so Aika's addressing Kaede.
Yes.
Kaede would respond. I've kind of been wandering from town to town. I've been moderately lost. I don't really know where to go. I play my flute to pay for inexpenses, but I've kind of just been wandering aimlessly around this region of Sakai. A little while ago, the guards they saved me from a witch's illusion. It looked very much like me, and it ran away. Odoru was present shortly thereafter, and I learned that they're a skilled monster hunter, so I asked them for protection.
Roll a con or deception.
Okay. I'll bump that up with a style point.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me grab the style point. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be a +1 modifier, correct?
Correct. 1 for 1 for style points.
Okay.
She nods and kind of looks back to Odoru. Like, monster hunter indeed. And then she says, still looking at Odoru, but addressing Kaede. Well, it's good that you found such companionship. If you get lost and travel a lot across the lands, there's a lot of dangerous rebels out there, monsters, bandits. And the entire time she's speaking, she's again looking and measuring Odoru.
The entire time, Odoru doesn't say a thing. They let the conversation happen. And from what I know of the backstory, what you told me, I don't know if it would annoy Aika or piss her off, but the entire time, Odoru just has a very friendly smile on their face.
Roll an empathy on your side.
All right. Empathy, here we go. I will use a style point. 1.
She's judging you. You can tell that much. But whether it's like what happened some 80 plus years ago or however many it's been when you last kind of were in the palace areas together, she does have a mask on her face. So you don't really read past that. But whatever the case, she does seem to... You seem to pass whatever she's doing, and she motions for you to come with her to the map. And you see, again, if you zoom out, the whole town of Iido, and then beyond that, all the vicinities is kind of marked out. It's a crude drawing, definitely been made by an artisan. It's not like you don't have GPS, Google Maps for this area, so it's all hand drawn and rough. But she points out at the city off to where, in the direction, the southeast direction. Did you see what happened there in the plaza with their star reader?
I was a witness to this, and it only enhanced my thought that a monster may be plaguing your town.
There clearly is. So you must be quite the hunter now, Odoru. When she turns to you, looking you directly in the eye. You're close now, too. You're both at the table.
I have been training for some time. I've been away on a hunt, just returning.
You know you're illegal right now, don't you? You're not supposed to be... You're Ronin. Shogun's son is dead. And Ronin are now illegal under the Barracuda. Do you know this, right?
I have been told that the hunting of monsters has been halted.
As a very unwise rule, but true. There are many monsters abounding.
New knowledge to me that you just told. I would have assumed that perhaps it may have been a misunderstanding. To my knowledge at least, the monster hunters always acted for the people of themselves.
Under the sun, yes. Under the moon, not so. But we are at war. You know that we are at war, at least. Yes, Odoru? You can't be that thick.
I wasn't told of a war, right? I was just told that the Barracuda took over, or the Shogun Moon took over.
Correct.
So Odoru would say, unfortunately, this is my first time hearing of a war. I've been gone for some time in the Busho province during my hunt. I've only recently returned.
Aika looks back down at the map. Well, it is my duty to take your oath of fealty on behalf of the Shogun Moon. Would you pledge your fealty and service so that you can maintain your weapon and your status as a... She kind of shrugs. Samurai, Ronin, as you are. Truly, you're just a Ronin. A masterless monster hunter.
What would Odoru say? I think Odoru would respond with, before I pledge, I did tell your men that I would, but before I pledge, I have a simple question, if you would amuse the thought of it.
I am all ears, Odoru.
Before I took up my training, when I was still part of the courts, I was always taught to respect my fellow court member, especially one of an elven house, such as yourself, and such I did. We may not have gone along, we may have been on separate sides, however, I still would consider us, due to our nature, maybe not friends, but acquaintances. So all I would ask is the truth to this question. Shogun's son, and now the Shogun Moon. How did it come about?
She maintains eye contact as you're talking this. We're just waiting for the full question.
And Odoru would say, as two, and would actually swap to Elvish when they say this, as two elven, perhaps emissaries, I would hope that we could respect each other enough to have this conversation, and for you to give me the truth of... Oh, I got a notification, I'm sorry. My birthday's happening right now, as you may know.
Happy birthday.
Odoru's phone blips. We're not in modern world. Their monster hunting radar gets blipped. But they say, in Elvish, I would hope you would respect a fellow elven family enough to answer truthfully. You say Shogun's son has died, and Shogun Moon has taken over. Would you mind telling me the circumstances around Shogun's son's death, and how Shogun Moon has come into standing?
She nods. She looks over at Kaede to see what the girl is doing while they speak, especially now that they've transitioned to Elvish.
I guess she's just watching them like contently with like a blank expression on her face. It's like she's not part of this conversation. She's just like looking back and forth between them to see if like the mood changes.
She finds that agreeable and just kind of like looks back to Odoru, and still in Elvish. The Barracuda, I believe, murdered Shogun's son. There was a coup d'etat a couple years ago. My family is sworn to Shogun Moon now, as you will be.
Odoru takes this in and listens to it, and still continuing conversation in Elvish would say, Aika, I have but one more question. This question may determine a lot, may determine the fate of things, and I'm willing to accept the fate and the outcome that may be involved. If you can tell me with all honesty that you and your family fully accept Shogun Moon, even after what you've said and your beliefs that Shogun Moon may have assassinated Shogun's son, if you can live with yourselves and your family can live with yourselves and you can all accept that, I will pledge my allegiance. But if there's but a single wavering member of your family, whether it be yourself, a parent, a brother, or a sister, with the honor and respect of a fellow elven family, I do not believe I can pledge.
Suksnakwil, she says in Elvish. Such is life. The Shogun, he ruled for a long time. Now, the Barracuda, he would not be my choice for a leader. He is... She kind of looks to the side. He's not a good elf, but he is a very strong elf, and he is next in line. As a soldier, as a samurai, it's our duty to serve the Shogun.
I feel like she should roll bluff because there's a...
Because there's a what?
Because of the prince, he wouldn't technically be next in line. So that was definitely a lie.
Unless the prince is dead, they think the prince is dead. He could just be doing this out of pure duty and honor.
Yeah, for Aika, that would not be a bluff.
Considering this has been full conversation, would I have a chance to roll empathy or persuasion just to see if, despite what she's saying, if there's like a crack within that armor that can be swayed or anything like that?
You could roll empathy.
Okay. I'm going to put 2 style points into this. Ha 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 ha.
You can see that this fits with what your experience growing up kind of with her. She values might, power, and the strength of the samurai and the samurai code and everything like that. She thinks the elvish houses are superior. She believes that the role of them, the samurai, which she wanted to be so much, is to serve the shogun. And so with the line changing, despite it being a coup, she does believe that her duties belong to the Barracuda.
That is unfortunate. Odoru would give out, maybe for the first time, have like a saddish look on their face and just sigh, and in Elvish still say, "Well then, Nika, I would hope that the respect we have for one another would at least allow me to safely exit your tent. While I cannot pledge myself to this new shogun, I would still offer the chance for you to, while you don't have to break any vows you may have made, know that should you ever find yourself faltering, there is a place within the Monster Hunters for you."
A look of despise crosses over her face. Odoru, I said before, if you do not pledge your fealty, you will be illegal. I will need you to give up your arms.
Looking over the Naginata, looking back at Aika, Odoru would say, "I am a monster hunter. I hunt monsters. You have a monster in your town. I plan on hunting it. Now, to hunt a monster hunter needs their weapons. If I do not pledge to Shogun Moon, you say it will make me illegal, that I cannot wield my weapons.
You will be escorted out of Sakai, or your life will be forfeit." Such is the law.
I think, at least to Kaede and this... no. No, I think they would still be nice about it. Odoru would nod and accept this fact and simply say, I have always preferred the Busho province. I find that, or at least what I've learned now, monsters seem to be more reasonable than my fellow elf, which saddens me, Aika. And they will do a bow to signify that they are done with this conversation.
She will incline her head briefly. And with a slight bow, she kind of... Are you going to turn to leave?
After watching her bow or the nod of the head, Odoru would turn to make the depart.
She will reach out and actually attempt to touch your shoulder and pause you.
Okay.
Odoru of House Petal. You agree to banishment?
If that are the rules of this new era, I do.
I cannot let one of your stature be so banished without escort. I shall escort you myself. The border is not too far from here. And I am surrounded by nincompoops in this town. She's going to go and sweep up her helmet from where she had set it down and kind of put it back on. You are an elf of noble blood. I shall take you to the border myself. You may maintain your arms on the way.
Perhaps more time for common conversation then.
She looks at the girl, and then she speaks in English, the girl to her, anyways, Kaede. We are going to leave. You may stay in the camp if you're so attacked by a witch. My men can protect you.
But Odoru was going to protect me. Did something change?
She's outlawed.
You are more than welcome to take this journey with myself, Kaede. I would not recommend the Busho province to those who are not experienced. But if you wish to continue my protection, I can offer that. I can also offer a token for the monster hunters to signify you are under protection of one of us. But that would also mean that I personally would not be here to protect you.
Kaede would kind of respond, well, I don't want to be exiled, but Kaede and me both feel like torn about this. But I think Kaede would ask, let me give you a parting gift, at least before you leave, Honorable Monster Slayer. And I think Kaede would just like reach for a piece of paper, like the bag's in front of her, so it's not like she's hiding anything, but she just reaches for a piece of paper, and I think she would just make, I guess, a standard origami lotus, just completely symmetrical in 4 directions, and kind of like puff it up and say, I'm sorry if I troubled you, but I do appreciate everything you've done. And she would give you this paper flower before stopping at the city gate. But she'll accompany both of them up until that point.
Odoru would kind of silently accept the gift, giving you a bow. giving a nod.
So as you depart the pavilion and kind of move out into the camp, she signals for her horse and another to be brought out, and then she will go on. She'll leave you there for a moment. She trusts that you're not going to just run away. And then she goes up to the camp over here, and you can just hear in the background her shouting orders for not Usue. She's going to leave him. She shouts for Ichi to round up his soldiers and go pursue the Star Reader. And then she comes back, mounts, and Aika and Kaede. She will probably take a detachment of like 4 troops to go with her. So, and you can begin to ride if you are following her requirements.
They definitely would be.
Okay. So
Is the bird still there or is it gone?
the bird's gone.
Oh, okay. Because it's still on the map.
When Aika shouted to the other people, like across the bridge, is it possible for Kaede to whisper to Odoru?
Yeah, she leaves you for a moment, so you've got free time to speak.
It's just a quick little message, but we will still have our conversation, as I promised.
As you say that, if there is that moment, Odoru would whisper back, "If Shogun Moon truly did kill Shogun's son,
It's true.
I think it may be best that the Witch of Iido does not go hunted." And gives you like a sly little smile.
Yeah, Kaede kind of grins, but like it's like a sad grin.
Stay safe, Kaede.
So Aika rides up, hands the reins off to Odoru. As you mount, the detachment of now all mounted soldiers will ride back through the town, cutting across to the western border and exit Iido. All the while, within the geisha house, with now things all in order, Kaori now dressed in her normal armor and apparel. Chang and Liu Shang, are you donning your armor for the first time in a couple months?
His armor, I believe, is in the tunnel, so hidden in there. So if he could go down the tunnel and get it, he would. The red tiger would. He would take his hair back from like a very messy kind of civilian look into the samurai look, don the red samurai armor, and put the helmet on, the massive okatana. Probably come out of a changing room, looking completely different from the stable hand.
Between Ping Pong, Liu Shang, Kaori, and then Chang, Sato, and Prince Oji, you all descend down into the tunnel, making your way by torchlight underneath the city. Go ahead.
Sorry. Does Kaede get a chance to get to the geisha house first?
Kaede,
that was my intent. That would be my intent.
Okay, then Kaede, kind of following the horsemen going to the other gate, you split off and make your way up. That's fine.
Okay.
So I guess we need to actually see what happens with that, don't we?
Yeah, I wasn't sure, like, for timing how it occurred.
Let's do it really quick.
Could be a great start for a next.
It could be a really great start.
Yeah, I was just about to wrap it up and have them all go through the tunnel. But I think maybe instead, Kaede, you knock on the door. The door is opened, and you're looking down at the enormous bote. And he just opens the door. It's like waiting for you to say something.
I hold out the invitation.
He stands aside, and in Kaede walks. And that will be where we stop for today.
Okay.
I was gonna greet you with a hug, but we'll wait till next time.
We'll wait till next time.
I was gonna be like, "It's so good to see you," but that can.
Yeah, that
next
will.
time.
We'll
If
pick
we
up.
play it out,
I am happy.
If we
Sorry.
play it out, I was going to tease Kaori too about the makeup.
Oh, this is all perfect for the next session.
Excellent,
Like,
excellent.
it's a perfect way to like ramp up.
So.
Oh yeah. Because me and Adrian have been talking, and we kind of need to start.
Yeah, this having a sun reader in the group is really
Sorry,
beneficial.
Sun Reader.
Oh,
Yeah.
you think, are we still going to wrap this up in 3 sessions, or are we going to have to add more? It's taken 2 for us to just get mostly together.
Yeah.
Maybe that's kind of the story for this. So I do intend to finish it next session unless something changes. But you're right on track to leave the town. So
I think ours would be a good cliffhanger.
Which
for
one?
the Sun Reader. Be a good cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well, for this this mini arc, where we are, I think almost done. But we will find out for sure not next week, but 2 weeks from now. And I'm going to say goodnight to the recording. Thank you for playing. I had fun. I hope you all did too. Thanks for spending time in the world.
Yeah.